Testing. Nice. We're back, baby.
We're
We're
live.
back in the new stew. Welcome to the new stew for all of our
The news,
the new
dude.
stew.
I don't know about that
All of
one.
our visual listeners on YouTube. Plug the YouTube, plug the YouTube. Bro, hear me out on
Yeah,
YouTube.
we got a new setup in the house. Cleaned up the office, reorganized it. We're on the casting couch.
On the casting couch. Yeah, there's a lot of incentive to watch the YouTube now, I feel, but
We're a little bit closer, a little bit cozier, feeling good.
still, Spotify is reigning supreme with about 75% of our listeners. I'm a big data nerd these days. Diving into all 45 of our loyal listeners.
45 listeners is not bad.
It's pretty good. Yeah, and you said you had some DMs for our last week.
Yeah, because
And you took a little
we
break
took a week off, that was on us. It was kind of a really busy um I don't know. So basically, today is January 5th,
Yeah.
Sunday, January 5th. We missed 1 week, which we were trying to avoid, but just got super busy. Charlie and I both got caught up with work and different things because I came back from Hawaii on Sunday night into Monday morning and then went like right into the work week. And then we had Wednesday off, but we were both busy doing stuff. So, yeah, anyways,
We're just working too
for
hard.
for the few people that don't care, sorry that we missed a week, but we're not
Yeah.
planning on missing any weeks as much as possible. But
Yeah.
it may happen here or there.
Yeah, and it'll always be a banger when we come back.
Oh my God, episodes are gonna be so much fucking better.
Sometimes
A
we,
week
we
off.
just need a break. We're just putting too much of ourselves into this podcast right now, honestly.
Yeah, I mean it's a heavy investment. People don't really get how hard
Yeah.
it is to be
Self-help
podcasters.
books of how to be a
Yeah,
podcaster.
podcasting for dummies actually rips pretty
I
hard.
just had to watch film all week. Just
You
listen to
you
podcasts
and
all week.
Trav.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyways, we're back. I got a bro, hear me out to start.
Okay, let's hear it.
Bro, hear me out. Getting a treadmill
Ooh.
sounds a lot better on the surface, especially installing it, than it actually
Oh,
is. This last
yeah.
4 days, Val and I have been Val bought a Woodway, which is going to be sick,
Hmm.
but it's been an absolute fucking terror getting this thing in our
Yeah.
house.
Very
And
sought after treadmill. Yeah, I feel the same. I mean, when you guys told me you're getting a Woodway, and you're like, we need help to move it. I was like, yeah, you definitely need more than just me. So when you're like, we have other people coming, I was like, okay, good. But also, I was thinking like, there's a lot of other shit that goes into it. Like, I mean, you guys have it set up now with the floors and the outlets, but it's like I feel like most people don't understand. It's you have if you don't have the right outlet, you trip the breaker. Like I had one, I got a treadmill in Gunny from a hotel, and it was just like a shitty run-of-the-mill fitness center at a hotel or a treadmill. But I brought it to my garage and like did it all on my own. It was fucking so heavy, and I set it up and I powered it on, and it tripped every breaker in the house. So just house zero power. So
yeah,
I like yeah, towed it all the way back in my minivan and then got it to the crib and set it all up with the wires and everything and calibrated the treadmill. And then by the time I was actually able to run on it, it just didn't work. And so I just had to have someone come pick it up. So
yeah,
I just resold it. So I profited like $500 or something, but obviously I'd rather have my own treadmill so I don't have to go to the gym or like outsource it or like on especially I feel like for Val and you guys now on like a really snowy day in Boulder just having it here versus like, oh, where can I do a workout or do I have to go to like the rec center or if someone has a Woodway like at CU or in their garage, hopefully nobody else knows about it. It's like a secret club.
yeah.
But yeah, now that you guys have that. But yeah, I feel like getting a treadmill, like your first treadmill, I'm sure people don't understand until you're in it. It's like an
No.
experience
Well,
thing.
so like I have hardwood floors in like in my entire house.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I probably don't want to put I mean, they're like 500 pounds
Yeah.
and it's only so I was like, I probably don't want to put that straight on the hardwood floor. So the people that we bought it from actually they closed down their gym because they were
Mhm.
like retiring. And they were also selling like 1,000 square feet of like floor mats, or maybe more. They had literally like towers of these,
Yeah.
like 1 inch thick like rubber floor mats for a gym. And so we bought like 35 of them, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be fucking easy to put in. Like they're just fucking
You're the
squares.
puzzle.
Yeah, and but they had all these like individual plastic connectors.
Yeah.
And dude, it like literally I was in that room until like 1 a.m. like boring out holes, like drilling holes in rubber to like fit these pieces together.
Jeez.
And then yeah, and then our house has been a disaster because we had to move everything out of that room because it was kind of already a gym room, so it had like a bike and
Yeah.
a bunch of other shit. And then so we installed the floor, and then I had to get the whole like house ready. Like we had to move a bunch of furniture like throughout the doorway, like throughout the like living room up
Yeah.
until it was just like every part about it. Oh yeah, and then I was on a work call and I was telling my buddy at work, I was like, "Oh yeah, we got this like sick treadmill.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna put it in this weekend." He was like, "Oh yeah." Like what you were saying, he was like, you have to get like a new outlet for that."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "No
It
shit."
doesn't just plug in like an Apple charger.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, you gotta be fucking kidding me. So I go tell Val, I'm like, hey, I think we're gonna need to get like a new outlet installed because she was like hoping she wanted to get that thing in the house ASAP and like run
Yeah.
on it. She was like so excited about it.
Yeah. I mean, a Woodway is prime time.
Yeah, no, it's sick. And I was like, we're gonna have to get like an outlet. So then, $1,000 later,
Yeah.
basically, and a bunch of manual labor, and then shout out to all the people that helped us move it in. Yeah, it was a huge pain in the ass, but I think we're over the other side of the hill, and hopefully now we just get to reap the benefits from it.
Yeah.
But
She might be running when we're in this.
yeah,
Maybe
I think Val's
hear
gonna be
a
running
little
on the other side
thumping.
of the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We promise she's running and it's not anything else. If you hear
If you hear a thumping,
yeah, if there's a thumping, especially for the listeners, it's Val probably running and nothing
it's
else.
not the casting couch.
Not the casting couch. Nothing else is going on here. Yeah, that's crazy. I was trying to come up with a bro hear me out on the way over to start, and I was just like driving, and I would say I don't know why, but I keep getting credit from Uber Eats, and I think I signed up for Uber One
Oh my
at one
God.
point, and so I haven't checked my because it was definitely before Christmas,
So you're getting
so
charged like every
I
month.
think so. But in the moment you just open you get a push notification that it's like you have $20 Uber Cash for free, and it's like at that point my bro hear me out is Uber Eats is way better than DoorDash because I do think it's a little bit cheaper too, but the only problem is you have to be there. So you can't like DoorDash it to someone else. They give you
Mm,
like a code.
okay.
And so if your Uber Eats, like if I wanted to say send Chipotle to my house right now, I couldn't, which is like you find that out the hard way. Ask me how I know. You find out the hard way. When your Uber Eats driver just takes your food and dips out because you don't have the code and he doesn't want to respond to your text messages. So yeah, I mean, if you're at home, if you're a home dweller for a day or two, and yeah, Uber Eats is the way to go, especially if you have Uber One. So that's my bro, hear me out, but DoorDash is much more like the people on there are much more friendly on DoorDash, but Uber Eats, I don't know, they've given me like $60 in free cash, but I feel like I might be paying more than that
Yeah,
over two
probably.
months, but yeah, for now,
Dude,
Uber Eats is the way to go.
that was like the same thing. Bill and I were trying to play COD
Yeah,
the other day, and he was like, anyways, on Xbox you can get like different like game passes. Basically, to play like some games online,
yeah,
you have to have like Xbox Game
yeah.
Pass. And we've been like we play like Fortnite and shit. Shout out the fake Nerf gun that my buddy Phil
Yeah,
gave to me.
the heavy sniper in the background.
Um, but we were like, I was like trying to like load up the game and play with him, and he was like, "Oh, dude, I'm already in. Like, I'm like online." I'm like, and I hadn't played because we've only played like Fortnite or other free games
Yeah,
for so long. I didn't
yeah.
realize that you had to have Xbox Game Pass, and so he was like, I was like, how are you already online? So then I like Googled it, and I was like, oh, I have to get Xbox Game Pass. And he's had like Xbox Game Pass Ultimate or something, which is like $25 a month. And he's like, oh yeah, that was probably like a couple thousand
Yeah,
dollars because he's had it for years since
yeah,
like COVID,
yeah.
basically.
Jeez.
So, anyways,
That's crazy.
shout out to subscriptions. It can make some
Subscriptions are
things,
so fucked.
yeah, they can make some things really convenient, but also can definitely hurt the wallet, and you might not even know it if you're not paying attention.
Yeah, what's the craziest subscription you have right now? Xbox Game
I was
Pass.
gonna rip Pornhub for you. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Wow.
Uh,
There's some truth in every lie,
no,
sir.
no, 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 no. The craziest subscription I have, I don't know. We have like way too many streaming services.
Yeah,
Like we
that's
have
a
like
big
every
one.
single one. I just canceled like Apple TV because we weren't watching it enough.
Yeah, I have Apple TV.
They're pretty
Yeah.
good. There's some good shows on there. But
It's not that it's like $10 a month, which I feel like isn't bad. I got 3 months Apple TV free with my new phone, but I would say the craziest subscription that we both have is probably this podcast.
oh dude, that's a good
It's
point.
like
Yeah,
ten
that's a
bucks a
good
month.
point. Yeah.
That's probably the craziest. Like, if you told me this a year ago, I'd be paying. Not that it's a lot, but it's like I definitely will forget when we get billed again.
Yeah.
It's like, oh wait, yeah, we paid for the podcast, so we would appreciate donors.
Dude, that's the funny part about like subscriptions. Like anytime you have a subscription
Yeah,
and you share it with someone,
yeah,
like every month you have to remember to be like, all right, let me shoot them a
yeah.
Venmo.
For
Like,
$7.
yeah, like our gym pass, there's like
Oh
six
yeah,
people on it. I
yeah,
just gotta like nuke everyone every
yeah,
month. Like, hey, send me money.
yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez, yeah. We're on YouTube TV. We had that subscription for like the whole NFL season
Yeah, that's
until the
it.
end of the
YouTube
year.
TV sick.
YouTube TV is dope until like you realize you only watch NFL or like sports.
Yeah.
And then it's now at the end of the year, Elise just canceled it because she's like, NFL's gonna be over soon. We don't watch it enough. We're gonna be going to Flag potentially. And so we like canceled it because it was just like a say a 3 month premium
Yeah.
until December. And then I was like, oh, I can pay for it. Like, let me sign up. And I was like, $85 a month for fucking YouTube
Is
TV?
that what she was paying?
No, hers was like 70.
Oh, she had
Or it
like
was lined up to be 70, but because it canceled, it like refreshed.
mm.
So I think she was paying 70 or something. But yeah, it's so crazy. Like, yeah,
Did
it's
you pay for it or did you were like
no. I've signed up for like 3 free accounts. It's like 90 minutes of YouTube TV.
every
It's
time you want to
crazy.
watch a game?
Yeah, it's like the second half of a football game I get to watch
Oh my
just on a
God.
different credit card.
Dude, that yeah, everything is yeah. The subscriptions every month, like phone,
Mm.
Wi-Fi. I mean, like go down the list.
Yeah.
Just in like yeah, it's like hundreds of bucks.
Yeah, I mean people pay for Strava too.
Do you pay for Strava?
No, I got it for free.
Yeah, I never paid for Strava when I was using it a bunch.
Yeah. I think they give like premium to like I got to deal with the creator program, which I don't know how because I have like 1,500 followers, but they gave
On
it to me.
Strava, you have 1,500
Yeah.
followers?
Or no, well, yeah, on Strava, I think I have more followers on Instagram,
God
which is
damn,
crazy, which is
dude.
a bad sign for,
Strava celebrity.
yeah, a bad sign for what's more popular in my life.
Are
But
you still ripping long descriptions on your runs and
yeah,
shit?
I've never done morning run. It's my thing. People like it, bro.
Oh, that's so funny.
But I think if
So
you pay for
funny.
Strava Premium, it's like $20 a month. Which like some people do use, like I can see the merit in it. Like there's some really cool features of like heat maps is really cool, or you can create your own route, or like there's some privacy stuff that you only get if you pay for it. But yeah, it's just like crazy how much things add up. Like $20 a month for Strava, it's $250 a year just to post your runs and get kudos. I mean, some people use heat maps and trails, like I said, but it's crazy. Yeah, weekly slash monthly slash yearly reminder to cancel your subscriptions because adds up quick.
Yeah, it can. Well, and it can be one of those things where like it can just like like it'll renew. Like I had actually the craziest one I have that I didn't even mean to have is a GoPro like premium or whatever
Nice.
because I got a GoPro like a year ago
Yeah.
and I got a free year
Yeah.
of GoPro and then I forgot to cancel it
Yeah.
and then it hit me a year later. I'm
Mhm.
like, God damn it. So it
Yeah.
was like $50 just like straight down the drain.
Yeah. I feel like I'm pretty good about that, but there's definitely in school, like I would sign up for like Quizlet Premium or just like crazy Chat GPT and just like, fuck, I paid $40 again because I wanted to use Quizlet for like one final exam. And I like signed up for $50. I was like, oh, this is worth an A. And now it's like ongoing.
Dude, I bet ChatGPT Premium. I've never used it, but I bet it's insane.
I bet it's crazy. You get previews if you use it through like Bing, you get like ChatGPT like 4.0 or something. I don't know. But yeah,
Yeah, you can
I
get
bet
like
it's nuts.
ChatGPT for business and stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff you can get.
Dang. Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah. But yeah, I guess this is first pod of 2025.
2025, but I think
But
we
we
need to
should-
wrap up
yeah.
2024.
I think that's what happened. We kind of edged ourselves too much because we're like, oh, next week's episode is gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
I had too much butterflies. I was just like, I can't do it. I just gotta.
No,
I can't.
I was like,
perform.
yo, when are we ripping the pod? He's like, I don't know, I'm busy.
I was like, oh, we can Zoom. We live 5 minutes apart.
Yeah, I was like, dude, we're not. I'm not gonna hop on a Zoom with you. You live 5 minutes away from me. And then that kind of just that's where it ended, and we got busy. But we do got to wrap up.
See, like this. this is a perfect example. I Uber Eats because I had that credit. I Uber Eats like this nice firewood to Elisa's house for a
Okay.
fire tonight.
Okay.
And it's like that's my pin. My last four digits of my phone number is my pin. And so it's like I texted him, I was like, please, I'm not there. This is the pin. So we'll have to see if Clyfer
Dude,
is
that
down.
that looked at to me like that was Clifford.
Yeah, it
Clifford
could
the
be.
big red dog
It
is
could
about to go
be.
drop firewood off at your
And I've sent
place.
him three messages with the pin involved, and he might just, I mean, it's not food, so I don't think he'll steal it, but he might just
He's gonna take your firewood, your
take my
premium
firewood and just
firewood.
like, it's $20 of firewood, but
Jeez.
it was free. So
You ordered firewood? Dude, I don't know, man,
20
about
bucks,
that.
bro.
That's crazy. That's
The
a
thing we
great
do in the
that's
side.
that's a crazy thing to order on Uber.
But yeah, yeah, I guess this could be like the last episode, but then we could look forward into 2025 too. But yeah, I feel like we wanted to look at, I don't know, top five might take forever memories of
Top
2024.
three.
Top three, yeah. Top three,
Because
but we could
2024
alternate.
was a banger year.
Yeah.
I honestly like 2024 was
Yeah,
for me
2024
was
was
just like a
wild.
was
Yeah.
a
Or you could go, I mean, I don't know. I've also thought about trying to do month to month, but I
that would
can't
be
remember.
12.
And it's like I can't remember what I was doing in April.
I actually do know what I do know something that I did in April that I would have potentially made the top five because
Jeez.
Val's first race was in April.
Oh yeah.
First race back from her whole knee thing,
Yeah,
and that was
okay.
pretty fucking sick.
I mean we could do top three, right?
Yeah, I think
Top
top three would
three.
be sick.
Top three in no order, but probably number one for both of us will probably be number one, I feel.
Yeah, yeah, that
Okay,
works.
so
You want
yeah,
to start at three?
yeah. Start at three.
You start.
I would say, oh, that's tough. I would say my top three, but like descending order, my third best memory would be probably Chicago Marathon.
Okay.
It's very close to the Olympic trials were sick too. I obviously raced pretty poorly there, but just being there with like that, it was just such a small field compared to a marathon, like a normal marathon. That was really cool. And the whole experience of like they gave you merch when you got there. My travel experience sucked getting there, but just being there and being like, wow, there's not much, there's still always going to be imposter syndrome, but it's like I deserve to be here. And like they paid for a lot of stuff, which was nice. And then just like that morning is like instead of waiting in line at a porta potty with like the entire elite field that has Kenyans, Africans, and like everyone involved, it was literally just Americans. So it was like you knew most people, or you knew everyone, and then you're homies with most people. And so
Yeah.
it was just like the men's field was what? I forget, sake of conversation, 120. The women's field was like 160. I think the women's field is bigger, but it
The
just,
elite field.
yeah, well, the whole field
Oh,
because it was
okay.
the trials.
Oh,
So it was
right,
like it
right,
just
right.
felt so much smaller, which was cool, but then it definitely had some pitfalls. But yeah, but the crowd was crazy. So I would say the crowd of the trials was surprising, and so that's the only one of the only reasons that I would possibly rank it. It's probably would be like fifth overall or fourth overall. But yeah, Chicago was just nuts because it was like my first world major. I ran 82nd PB. I had a lot of like Val was there, Elise was there, my parents were like a lot of people that I knew or I didn't expect to come came.
Yeah.
And yeah, Chicago, I mean, we went, or I went, I guess you didn't make that trip, but
I wish I would have.
I went to Chicago in like 2018 for a cross country race at Western. It was marathon weekend as well. And it was just like, I don't know, it was just a really cool city to me. It's a very sports centric city, which is cool. And yeah, I just had like a really good time. The hotel was really nice. It was my first trip that I've ever had no roommate on, which was really nice.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I didn't
Oh,
pay for
interesting.
anything, which is cool. I mean, I paid for my flights, but the hotel was sick and the meet directors were really nice. And then yeah, the race went say B plus, A minus, probably B plus. But yeah,
You
I
ran a
mean,
PR.
yeah, I would say, and then just running the day after is like it was really sunny the day of the race, which was nice, but the day after was like your stereotypical Chicago, like raining, overcast. I went for like a 3 mile run and I was like, wow, this is city living. Like I got that in me. And then I like Ubered out of the city and then came back. So yeah, I'd say Chicago was number three, like the whole weekend in general, but the race, obviously any world major, the crowds are just berserk for most of it. There's some quiet parts, but yeah, most of it is just like being there and just like yeah, running with people I finally know I can run against, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. My third, I think it was probably It's so hard, dude. I feel like there's so many good moments this year that I could just like swap out. Um,
This man, bro.
dude, Clifford the Big Red Dog
I
trying to
don't
be
know
2 year
what's going
wood.
on, bro.
Um, Charlie's on his phone for anyone listening on Spotify, trying to figure out his Uber Eats for firewood. Loser. Um, okay, so I would say my third, and I think this is interchangeable with a lot of things, but I would say so I didn't actually make Val's first race because my cousin it was really bad timing technically for Val's first race because she did that Brian Clay 1500-meter race.
Yeah.
Um, but for me, and this is just these top three will probably all be Val related, which whatever, fuck it. I'm I my girlfriend's way cooler than me. Fiance, sorry.
Nice.
Um, so in April, actually, the her first steeplechase was at Oxy. What was that race called? What was the name of that meet?
Dude, he just ended it. I don't know if the fireworks gonna be there. He said, "What apartment is it?" And I didn't get to respond, and now I can't find the message. I think he took my firewood. Damn it.
Well, wait, can they
Uh,
literally just leave with it
yeah, if I don't respond technically. He ended the order, so it might be there, it might not. The one at Oxy,
in April?
it's like a distance classic, I think.
Yeah. Something distance classic. Something. I
Yeah,
can't
yes, might be USATF or literally insert any like flow track or runner space or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, some distance classic.
Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, Val, that was super cool because obviously, Val had a pretty tough year or, last 8 months before that. And she came back, first steeple of the year, ran in the 920s, won the race. And like, yeah, that was just like a super dope weekend for obviously for her, but just super cool to see. I don't know. For me, like watching Val run well is just like I don't know. It's such a cool thing for me,
Yeah,
especially because
after what she went through too.
yeah,
And to come
yeah,
back, I mean, it was still pretty quick,
yeah.
but she came back from like square zero.
But she also just ran the race smart. She won the race,
Yeah,
which was sick. And it wasn't
yeah.
like there was no one in the race, like
Mhm.
there was some good competition. So that was just like that kind of just like catapulted her into the year of like being, hey, there's like a lot of really cool things that like as soon as she ran that race, I was like, dang, maybe she could. Like it went from like because the moment she hurt her knee, I was probably the first person like when I saw in the Doha race when she messed up her knee, I literally my most immediate thought, I think my most immediate thought at that time was there's no way she's going to the Olympics next year.
Yeah,
Because I was just like, it's like
it's too quick.
yeah, it's just like a 9 month recovery. It's like
Yeah,
literally in a year. There's no way. And then she went and runs this race, first race coming back, and just also too like just watching someone that's been through all that shit have the confidence to have a race like that
true.
was just sick. I mean, I don't know. For me, just like being, being able to see all the behind the scenes stuff. Nothing really related to me, but it was just super dope to watch. I will give an honorable mention though.
It's fucked.
Your firewood's
I
fucked.
was scrolling through my phone throughout that. Yeah, it's fucked, I think.
You're such a loser. Just go buy fucking firewood. There's a gas station right next to your place.
No,
Just
this is
go.
nice firewood.
Oh, okay. Does it burn longer? Is
Yeah,
it
it
not
does.
actual firewood?
It's good for the environment,
Well, fuck.
bro. Okay, honorable mention.
Honorable mention, which would have made my top five,
Yeah.
was you, me, and Phil at the Olympics
Okay.
the night of the 5K, but after the 5K when Mondo set the world
Ooh, yeah,
record.
that was crazy.
So the reason this is an honorable mention, so me, Chuck, my buddy Phil, who some point we'll have on the podcast, and our friend Emery
Yeah.
all went to Paris to watch Val and Elise. Like obviously, like just be at the Olympics. Obviously Val was the original catalyst for me.
Mm,
Um, and so it was in between. We bought like you already had tickets for that night
yeah.
because of Elise,
Yeah.
and then we uh We didn't. So
Like,
Phil and I
yeah,
didn't.
yeah,
Emery was like sick of us because she was one of the boys for a week, so she didn't end up coming, which
yeah,
crazy fumble in my opinion.
yeah.
But we were at the meet. Elise ran crazy race for the 5K, but the last event, the men's pole vault was going on the whole night.
Hmm.
And Phil, being Phil, was like, guys, we gotta go. Like, because Mondo at this point, this is the end of the night. Literally, no other events on the track were going on.
Yeah.
And Phil was like, guys, we gotta go. We gotta get like a bike because we would bike around Paris and stuff.
Hmm.
We gotta go. We gotta get a bike. He already won, like whatever.
Yeah.
But he was trying to jump the world record.
Yeah.
Goes twice, misses the first two attempts, and Phil's like, guys, we gotta go.
Yeah.
He's gonna miss it. And I
Because he would
literally,
recover. He'd like take 5 minutes to
yeah,
recover.
yeah.
So
It
it's
was
just
like it
like,
was there was yeah, it was like 20 minutes
yeah,
where it was just Mondo
yeah,
jumping.
yeah.
And I was like, Phil, if we fucking leave and he sets the world record, I will never forgive you
Yeah.
if we miss that moment.
Yeah.
And so he's literally like up until like 30 seconds before Mondo does his last jump. Phil's like, guys, we gotta go. He's trying to convince us to leave.
Yeah.
And last one goes whole like 80, however many, every seat in that fucking stadium
Yeah.
was packed. Everyone's clapping.
Crazy.
Third attempt goes, jumps it.
It was silent and then just
Yeah, silent, and then just like so loud. He clears it, and I fucking freaked out.
yeah.
And I was like, it's so stupid. Like, yeah, I told you. Yeah, I loved that moment. That
Yeah.
was one of my favorite moments from that whole trip because that was just like, yeah, I don't know. That was just the three of us just like broing out and
Yeah.
having a great time and watching. Like that was also something that you're like, um, I'm never gonna replicate this moment.
Yeah.
You know, it's like one of those
Yeah.
moments where like that's a once in a lifetime
That's true.
thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was one of my favorite moments of the year, but I wouldn't say it's a top three, but honorable mention
Dang.
because everything else is
Yeah.
probably gonna be
Yeah.
about Val.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Dang. Yeah. That was
that
crazy.
was
I
fun.
recorded that too. That's on my phone. So
Yeah, Phil has a funny recording of it
yeah.
because I literally freaked out. I was like, oh my God, like screaming.
Yeah.
I have a recording of it too, but Phil's is the best, I
Yeah.
think.
Phil's is crazy.
Yeah.
Dang. Shout out Phil
Yeah, shout out Phil. He'll be on the podcast at some point.
at some point. Oh,
Dude, you gotta
it's
chill
gone.
with the fun. You
Yeah.
gotta focus on the
firewood.
podcast
The
here.
firewood has left the building. That's okay.
Yeah, for anyone that's interested, either listening, well, most
Shout
of
out
those
mom for
guys
texting me during the podcast.
yeah, shout out Charlie's mom. All right, what's your number two?
She
Let's
asked
keep
me
it.
if I'm at the Chiefs game. I'm not.
Why would
Or
you?
at the Broncos game. They put the Chiefs. She said, "Are you at the Broncos game?"
Why
No.
would you have been at the Chief or the Broncos game anyways?
Maybe she thought because I went to the Nuggets earlier. Maybe she thought I said the
She's
Broncos.
like, oh, Charlie's
Sports guy now.
big sports guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mom, no, I'm not at the Broncos game.
Dude. All right,
Okay, yeah, number two.
number two.
I feel like my memories are like a little more vague than yours. Like that one's pretty specific, but I would say number two would be like the Eugene trip.
That was a sick
Like
trip.
that, yeah, my trip, like, yeah, I think even the saying Chicago Marathon weekend is pretty vague. Eugene trip was crazy because it was like I wasn't gonna go. I was thinking about going. I wasn't gonna go because getting to Eugene is a hassle to say the
Yeah,
least to
it
get to
is.
like
It's like a
actually
terrible
Eugene.
location.
But I had so many homies going, and like I was just like, oh, I gotta go. And then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna chill here, like just lay low. And I was kind of training for Chicago, but also kind of not. And then just like pulled the trigger, very similar to Paris, but like pulled the trigger like 48 hours in advance, just like I'm gonna go. And yeah, I took a flight out at like 7 p.m. from Denver and then got to Eugene at like 9. And then yeah, stayed in that RV, which was a whole crazy story. Like I wanted an Airbnb and I was gonna stay with this homie named Bill. But I've said this on another podcast too. Shout out Dom on the lactic acid podcast.
Oh, okay. I was about
Um,
to say Dom. Never mind.
yeah, I told him the story on that podcast, so there's a bit of a overlay here. But I was gonna go to Eugene, and I had homies to stay with. Shout out all the Portland homies, Tate, Kellen, Suki, all those guys. But they didn't have a bed for me the first night, so I was like, I gotta get an Airbnb, and I was gonna stay with this guy named Bill. And all the reviews were like Bill is such a nice guy, but don't think you're just gonna be like chilling in your room. He's a talker.
Was that in the RV?
That was well, this was before the RV.
Oh,
And
okay,
so
okay.
I was like, yeah, I'll stay with Bill. Like, I don't mind talking. Like, I'm sure he's a big track guy. Not yet.
Okay.
I'm sure he's a big track guy. And so I was like, yeah, I'll do it. But then I went for a double and I was like, I'll think it over just to make sure I want to drop like $500 on this flight or something.
Yeah.
And so I got back and I was like, yeah, fuck it. I'm gonna stay with Bill. It's gonna be sick. It'll be a cool story. I got back, Bill's place was gone. So I was just like, then I put in Hayward Field, closest Airbnb, just booked it. Didn't even look where it was. And then I got to Eugene. I got to Eugene from the airport, and I was on the plane with Elisa's sister and her best friend. And we're gonna get picked up, and then Elisa's dad picks me up, and he's like, "Where's your Airbnb?" And I was like, "Just here's the address." I don't know. 40 minutes from Eugene. So like, oh fuck. And it's like 9:30. And so they dropped me off at this RV in the middle of I can't remember where it was. So yeah, I stayed in the RV for just one night. But yeah, so that was the start of it. And then I went back and stayed and hung out with those Portland guys for the remainder of it, but and stayed more downtown Eugene. But yeah, just staying there, and then I would really just pretty much run and then work at a coffee shop, Magpie Coffee, I'm pretty sure is what it was called,
Mm.
right next to the Graduate. We'd go there a lot at CU, and then I would work, and then I'd just go to the meet for the races, and then just like either go to dinner or like go to a bar, and then yeah, because the trials weekend is just nuts. I mean, it's
Dude, it's
cool.
just so cool.
It's like there's trivia nights and there's just like pop-ups and it's just like
Yeah,
everyone's there for either like homies or just like the sport. Like no one's really there, like happens to be there. Everyone's there for a reason. And you just
yeah,
like my high school coach was there and people I went to college with were there and then like people I ran against in college were there. It's just like people that I've met through everything is like anyone you meet through running is there pretty much. And
yeah,
so you're always gonna either like overlap with them or they'll be there for a run or like so yeah, that was really cool. And then we got Evan to come out, and
yeah.
Evan stayed with you guys. And like, I didn't get to see you or Val after the race, technically,
Not
but
that night.
not that night. But then we were in processing with her and Evan,
Yeah, we went. Yeah, that was cool. Went into
and then went
processing. Went for
to
a run after the day
yeah,
after. I think that week was also just so dope because like the people we went out there to support all crushed it.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, and yeah.
I mean, at least for me.
Yeah, yeah. Val won, ran it insane, like ran faster than I thought she would run. Elise killed it in both the 5 and the 15. Like ran a PB in the 15 after running the 5, which is pretty crazy too. And then yeah, just seeing all those people, and then also like Ty was out there, which was cool to see. He qualified like last minute at Portland Track Fest too, and I got to be there for that. And then yeah, Evan came out and like the first time I saw Evan, he's like, "Yeah, I'm 6 beers deep," and like I don't know, I'm getting home. My dad's 7 beers deep, so I'm not
Oh,
sure who's driving us home. And then like he stayed and we ran with him, and he had this crazy outfit that could be like the post for Instagram. Evan's
oh my
outfit,
God. Yes,
Evan's thirst
dude.
store outfit. That
Yes.
photo I
I
have.
definitely have that
We yeah,
picture.
we pop up to the Total Sports House, and Evan's in the U of O like 1960s cheerleader outfit,
Yeah,
pretty
well,
much.
okay, wait. So some context. So the day after Val raced, was Elise racing that day? No.
No, I think she.
I think she
It
was
was either
done.
rest day or she was done.
Oh no, she wasn't done
It
because
was like between the semis and the final or
for the
something. There wasn't a
15,
lot
for the
going on.
15.
Yeah, for the
Yeah.
15.
So that day was like a down day. Val had already qualified.
Hmm.
Val qualified the day prior. But
Hmm.
because Val qualified, the next day they have like team processing, they have
Yeah.
like a bunch of interviews and stuff. But so our buddy Evan from college, who's one of our best friends, came down. He lives up, well, his family lives up. Is it Washington or Oregon? It's on the coast.
Washington.
Okay, Washington. So
Tillamook.
him and his dad came down like 4 hours. I convinced Evan to stay that
Yeah.
night and hang out with all of us, which
Yeah.
was fun. And anyways, yeah, Val needed to go for like a 4 mile like easy run in between all the craziness.
Yeah.
So you and Evan, while I went with Val to do something, went to a thrift store.
And a convenience store.
Yeah,
I'm trying
okay.
to remember the name of the
You
convenience
now
store.
you take over the story
Yeah,
from
so it was
here.
like we took you guys' rental car while
Yeah.
Val was in processing and or like interviews with
Yeah, I think it was
Nike,
interviews
like
at that point.
so much stuff. Obviously, when you win a US championship and run a crazy time and qualify for the Olympics, like you have a lot of shit to do. So yeah, me and Evan took you guys' rental car, and Evan's like, Evan is in, or Evan's very into, he's like in pharmacy school, but he's very into
Yeah.
hygiene, like as most people should be. But his biggest concern at that time, I think because he had too much to drink the night before and was yakking. Sorry for exposing you, Evan, but he was like, I just need a fucking toothbrush. And so we went to this convenience store. I can't fucking remember. It's like a convenience store in Eugene. It has literally everything you can think of. It's across from Tracktown Pizza. I cannot remember. It's sick though. And so we went in there and we bought Evan a toothbrush and then like 2 packs of gum and I think like some toothpaste and floss or something. And he's like, I want to go for a run. And I was like, well, we're gonna wait for Val. And he's like, well, I need running clothes. I literally don't have anything. And so then we went to like a Goodwill and he couldn't find anything. And then we went to like a really bougie Goodwill and it was like called something else. It was like called something secondhand, but it was like really bougie. And so we get there and we're looking at shirts and stuff. And he's like, well, this stuff's really nice. And it's like $50. And it's like, oh shit, like we can't do this. And he's like, I literally can't do anything else. And I don't want to be like hanging out while you guys are running. And so he bought like mesh shorts, a mesh Oregon singlet that I found. It's like a
It was like those
reversible,
were like
like,
lady shorts,
yeah,
or they were
yeah.
like small dude
There,
shorts,
there
like
was
extra
no
small.
lining in them at all. And then he found a pair of like Pegasus 30s
Oh, that's
but
right.
they're women's, but
Yeah,
they're
those were
his size,
women's.
but they're pink. And so
And
yeah, then he tossed everything on and he kept the tags on because he's like, I'm gonna return all this shit. I was like, Evan, I don't think you can return Goodwill stuff. And he's like, no, you can. And so we ran like 4 miles and then he tried to take it back and they rejected his return.
no way.
Yeah, they didn't let him return it because it was like, so you can't return this. Like, and it probably
Because
smelled
oh
horrible.
God.
It was just,
I
oh, it
didn't know
was
they didn't
so
return.
crazy.
He wasn't able to return it.
Yeah, you can return it. But
I
yeah,
didn't
we
remember
finished,
that.
we ran, we changed into our running shit at the Total Sports agency house.
Yeah.
And so I had like regular Nike splits on
Shout
and
out Total Sport.
shout out, shout out. And I had like my running fit on, and then Evan walks out with all this bullshit on from the Total Sports house. And then we get back and we're there, and then like I can't remember who told us to. It was like Steven or someone was just like, yeah, there's a bunch of Morton stuff downstairs. Grab as much as you want. So me and Evan just went ham on the Morton table.
No way.
Yeah, it
I
was
wasn't there for
crazy.
that. I don't
Yeah, I
think.
think you were with Al, like talking to Steven or something. And me
Jeez.
and Evan were just in the basement, just like munching on Morton because
God
we were so
damn.
fucking hungry. It was crazy. And then yeah, his return got rejected, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that whole, I mean, yeah, so that would be up there. And then yeah, I didn't have a flight back. I would guess like that would be what ties it all as like memory number two is I booked one way.
But
So
that's such a. I mean, dude, shout out to you for doing that because like I don't know. Because I remember you talking to me before the trials,
yeah,
and you're like, dude, I've always wanted to go. And I'm
yeah,
like, dude, you gotta go.
yeah,
You gotta fucking go.
yeah. And so it was like I don't know, the trials are 10 days and Val raced on say like day 7 or something, and
Yeah.
Elise finished up on day 8 or something like that. And so yeah, it was like the last day I was there, I didn't have anything else to watch. I was like, fuck, I don't have a flight home. Like, when am I going home? And I don't have anywhere to stay because all my homies are leaving. Like, the last 2 days are like decathlon, or like last day especially was like decathlon and like throwing. So I booked a really shitty red eye flight from Eugene and then just did same day standby and then got back to Boulder. But yeah, it was like everyone's like, when do you go home? Or no, it was out of Portland. So I got a ride with
Yeah, I was gonna say, dude,
India
the
and
flight from
Cole.
Eugene would have been really expensive.
Yeah, I got a ride home or a ride to Portland with India Johnson and Cole Hoff. Shout out them. And I was just like, yeah, I guess I'm going home today. Can I, or tomorrow? It was like midnight. I was like, can I have a ride home? They're like, yeah, we're leaving at like 6 a.m. And I was like, my flight's at 9 p.m., but I guess they'll do same day standby.
Oh
And
shit.
that's where the whole standby came up. And since then, I've gotten 3 for 3 same day standby.
There you go. There you
But yeah,
go.
that would be number two.
All right. I like it. I like it. All right. This might be like a controversial take because there's a lot of highlights this year. Um, well, not really. Okay, I'm gonna do two again because I gotta like just mention an honorable mention, but then also okay, so number two, and some people, well, if anyone listens to this, they might be like, Kyle, you're a piece of shit for putting this number two. But I would
Oh, I
put
know what you're gonna say.
yeah, no, no, but the number one I feel like makes sense. But until they hear number one, they're gonna be like, Kyle, you're a piece of shit. I would say number two.
Comment you piece of shit, Kyle, before it comes out because I know exactly what you're gonna say.
Okay, I would say number two was getting
I knew it.
getting. Dude, give me a fucking chance here, okay? Give me a chance. Okay. Uh, Val and I went to Rome for the Rome Diamond League, and Val and I have been dating for over 6 years now, and yeah, I proposed to her in the Colosseum in Rome.
Not in the Coliseum.
No, it was in the Colosseum.
50-yard line in the Coliseum.
It was in the Colosseum,
Dang.
in front of people. I have the video. I don't know if I showed it to you.
You haven't, but you're digging yourself more of a hole.
Whatever. It was dope. It was in the Colosseum. Proposed to her. Surprisingly, she said yes to marry me, which is dope. And yeah, that was really, really cool. So yeah, that because she went out there for the Rome Diamond League. That was
Yeah.
after the Olympics, after she had a rough final in the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, she ran great. She ran like a second slower than what she ran at the trials. So it was like kind of clear that because she had like COVID and
Yeah.
stuff. So it was like, okay, it was kind of validation that like something was off at the Olympics,
Mm.
which was really cool. And it was just dope to like, it's, I don't know, it's just for me, like with Val, it's just super cool to watch her run well. And so she ran really well. And then the next day we uh went and like toured all over Rome. And then one of the things we like bought tickets for the Colosseum. And dude, I was just sweating that. Like not the actual proposal part. Like I was a little nervous for that for
Yeah.
sure. But I was more nervous about like where I was gonna do it because it gave me a shit ton of anxiety
Yeah.
to like do it in front of a bunch of people.
Right.
So what I so we walked around like the whole thing and I was like, fuck, there's like no like really good place. There was like this place like super high up, like all the way to the top of the Coliseum. I was like, dude, I gotta get up there. Because there was also like no one up there.
Yeah.
So I was like trying to figure out how to get up there. Anyways, we couldn't figure out how to get up there. So I ended up just like going up to this guy and I was like, hey man, would you mind recording us? And he was like, what? And I was like, just point the camera this way and ignore your recording. Hand this guy his phone. It's literally on the base level, like dead smack in the middle of the Coliseum. Pop the question.
Nice.
I was actually super nervous because it was in front of like 100 people.
Jeez.
And but I was like, fuck it, whatever. I'm never
Yeah.
gonna see any of these people probably
Yeah.
again in my life. And yeah, she said yes. And then we like had a great rest of the night. The funny thing is we ended up going and meeting up with Courtney Wayman
Nice.
and like toured around Rome with her and like spent the rest of the night with her. And then like at the end of the night, she found out that we got like engaged that day.
Dang.
She was like, "What the fuck? Like, why didn't you say anything?" Because
Dang.
Val made these plans with her, and I was like, "Well, I can't tell her." I was like, "Well,
Yeah.
I
You
had
should-
like,
yeah.
yeah." But also, it ended up, it was just like an awesome night,
Yeah.
and it was cool because Val hadn't never, I don't think she's ever spent much time with Courtney.
Hmm.
So it ended up being a super fun night, and it was kind of funny because we were like all walking, and she like looked at Val's hand. She's like, "Wait, were you guys engaged before?"
Yeah.
And Val was like,
Last week.
"Yeah, what happened earlier?" So
Dang.
that was cool. Honorable mention though, I have to mention it.
Yeah.
This isn't remotely close. Well, not like that specific moment's not like as high, but I will say, and it's kind of ties into our first one. Our whole Paris trip,
Dang, is that not your top one?
it's not my top one.
Dang.
It's
Yeah.
not my top one.
Okay.
But our whole Paris trip was just such an unreal trip.
Yeah, that was my top one.
Okay.
Or my top choice. But also I just want to say
If you want to rip here, I'll elaborate because that's an honorable
Yeah.
mention. So if that's gonna rip your top one, you should talk about that.
Yeah, before I do that, I just want to say goodbye to all the female listeners after Kyle just ranked proposing number 2. You guys probably just
No.
so-
Stick around. It's gonna make sense here in a second. It will. I think it will.
But also, if you're really mad, I don't blame you.
Whatever.
Every girl just exit out of Spotify.
Whatever.
Unsubscribe 1 star on Spotify.
Whatever.
These assholes.
No, my number one's gonna make sense and it'll make up for it. I think. Well, we'll see. Maybe people won't agree, but
Yeah, maybe
I
not.
think it will.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, another very vague one, but the whole Paris trip in general, like, for me is top memory of 2024 for sure. Like, just how it came about of obviously I wanted to go really bad, but then after Eugene, I was like, it's not.
The backstory of this is good though.
Yeah,
You
it's
gotta
like I was
elaborate on
like
this.
obviously wanted to go because Val was going, Elise was going for the Olympics, and then like you were going to
Yeah.
go, and Phil was going, and like I
And
w-
Emery was
and
going.
Emery was going, and I was like, I should really go, but also it's like I've never been to Europe.
Yeah.
I'm kind of training. It's like it was like what 12 weeks out from Chicago. I'm kind of training. It won't be great for training
Because you're
specifically,
training for Chicago, yeah.
but there's also like all the pros of like I've never been to Europe. It's in Paris. I've never like Paris is supposed to be crazy. Like it's with people. Like how many other times am I gonna be with like people and like know what to do? It's not just like me kind of being out there by myself or like so like only going for the Olympics. Like I knew we were gonna get into other shit. So it was like that was a big motivator. But yeah, I was like I was gonna go and then you basically said, yeah, we're gonna get an Airbnb, like we can take care of it. Like if you need help, like I can spot you money, or like you should go. And I was like, okay,
I was
bet.
basically like Charlie. I was trying because you had just spent a bunch of money in Eugene
Uh-huh.
because you were out there for like a week and a half, right?
Yeah, a
Yeah.
long time.
So I was like, but I was just like, I dude, just like let's just make this happen. We'll figure out like
Yeah,
all this shit on the back end. Like,
yeah,
don't even worry about it.
yeah. And at that point, I was like, whatever we were doing, we were playing Fortnite or whatever, or I was just watching TV, but it was like midnight the
No,
first time. And I
no.
booked it without
Well,
telling
no, no,
you.
no. So no, no. Oh, you did? No, no, no. I thought I called you. I put you, Emery, and Phil all on
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
four-way
But it
call.
was late.
Yeah, it was late.
Yeah,
Yeah, so Phil and I were like playing video games,
yeah,
and Phil and I were like, "Yo, we really need to book these flights
yeah.
because we
To
are,
Paris.
yeah, to
Yeah,
Paris." And Emery was already like committed verbally, anyways.
yeah,
And like everyone was committed, but you were kind of like on the fence.
yeah.
You're like, I don't know. So I have Emery and Phil on the call, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna add Charlie to this, and we're just gonna peer pressure him, and he's gonna buy his ticket. It fucking worked.
Yeah, it did work.
And you bought the ticket, and I'm sitting there, dude. I was so fucking hyped. I was
It
like,
worked.
yes, yes, we're all going. This is gonna be incredible. Like, I cannot fucking wait. And then yeah, and
Yeah,
then
so it worked, and it was like 12, or it was like midnight.
it was midnight, yeah.
And so, yeah, then I didn't tell like my parents, I didn't tell anyone I booked it, which like obviously I don't necessarily need to, but like it was like very spur of the moment. It was like one of those things you book it, and I just slammed my laptop shut and went to bed. I was like, fuck. Because it's like obviously just dropping whatever was
It
like
was over. It was like
1,500
yeah,
bucks or
1,500
something.
bucks, yeah.
It's like, oh fuck. And so I just slammed my laptop shut, went to bed, woke up the next day, I ran. I was like, did I? And like open my email, like confirmation, like you're going to Paris. I was like, fuck me, bro. Like
Oh my
I
God.
don't want to like I was like, it's so much second guessing, and then I was like, you know what, I'll just cancel it. Like if I go, I go. If not, whatever. And then I canceled it.
Yeah.
And I basically told everyone in the group chat, I was like, hey, like wasn't thinking straight, canceled it. Sorry. Like I won't be there, but like
So bummed when I got
appreciate the
that
offer.
text. So bummed and a little bit pissed off.
Yeah,
I was
that was
bummed.
a big time beta move for sure. But then I got the refund straight in the bank account. I was like, oh fuck yeah, let's go. I was like, okay, it'll be fine. I'll just like be here, sad boy, for like a week. It'll be fine. I'll figure it out, like whatever. And then it was like I think you gave me like 12 hours or a day.
No, no, it was that
Or
day.
you're like, can I
Uh,
call you? And I was like, no, I'm at
no,
work.
you're
And then you called me at like 3.
yeah, and yeah, so I was like so in my head I was like so Charlie texts Emery, Phil, and and he was like in our group chat, and he was like, "Hey guys, I'm like, I cancel my flight. I'm not gonna make it." And I'm like, "No fucking way, bro!" I went from like super stoked, so excited, to then being like, "God damn it," because I just knew that like having you there would be so much fun,
Yeah.
and like also like you're such a. I mean, again, so I'm like super bummed. And then I texted you and I'm like, because you were like, bro, I think you even said to me, like, bro, like, I can't go.
Yeah.
Like, I can't go.
Right.
And I was like, I was like, all right, totally get it. Just call me later, though.
Yeah.
Or I called you or whatever it
Yeah.
was, but you were like, okay, sounds good. So you or whoever we called each other
Yeah.
at like 3, and then like I softly just like led into this sales
Yeah.
pitch of why like if you don't fucking go,
Yeah.
you are a fucking idiot.
It was like 90 minutes.
Yeah, we talked for like a 90 minutes, 2 hours, and I
Yeah.
was just like, bro, I literally said, when we're 90 years old or however old, we
Yeah,
will look back on that trip and be like, once in a lifetime, would
for
never.
sure.
And I feel that way after going.
Yeah, and I knew
I
that too,
yeah,
which is like the whole appeal is like I think you knew I knew that too.
yeah.
And that was why you said it. And I was like, yeah, that's true, but like I can't do it. And it's just like at that point, like you were like, yeah, when we're 90, are you gonna be stoked on you saving $1,500? If that's the main reason, I'll spot you and like we'll
Yeah.
figure it out. But I don't think you're like, I don't think that's the reason you're not going. I think you're just like overthinking it. And
Yeah.
like you should go and like if you need to talk about it, come over or like we'll talk about it on the plane. But
Yeah.
like we'll fucking figure this out. Just like buy your ticket.
Dude, I that was like in my head, I was like that was in my head, I was like, even for me, I was like, I don't want money. Like even for my
Yeah,
experience, I was
right.
like, I don't want money to be the reason why my friend who I know, because like, yeah, it was just one of those things where I was like, we just gotta make this happen.
Yeah,
Like however it has to happen,
yeah.
we just have to make it happen.
I figured it out.
And yeah, and I don't remember exactly when you didn't buy the tickets on that call, right? You
No, not on my call, but I got off and I was like pretty sold.
yeah.
And then I logged on back on the same website and it was $200 cheaper.
Yeah, that's right,
So I was
dude.
like, oh shit.
Shout out Air France,
Yeah, I was
dude.
like, let's go, let's do it. Fuck yeah. And then so I bought it and then I texted everyone, I was like, hey, psych, like I'm back in. And then Phil was like, "Oh no, bro! Like I'm so sorry. I'm sure you spent a fortune like getting that back." And I was like, "Fuck you guys! It's actually $200 cheaper." And like I'm gonna go now. And so yeah, I mean that's even how it started. But then just like every aspect of that trip was so nice with having people for sure, but also
Yeah,
not being like so centralized around the track. It was definitely centralized around it, but it was like
yeah,
we did other shit of like sightseeing on the bikes, or the soccer game was dope,
yeah.
or
We went to see a soccer game. I don't have any regrets from that trip, but I wish we would have seen
yeah,
more events.
yeah. If we
Like,
planned it out a little more.
yeah, that was the thing is we
Like
kind
the
of
volleyball would have been dope.
yeah, beach
Yeah.
volleyball. That was the thing I really wanted to
Or
see.
just like USA men's basketball would have been sick, even though
Yeah,
they kind of dicked on everyone. It would have been cool just to go to a different place instead of the
yeah,
track.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That would have been cool. The
But
soccer game was cool. We got pretty
yeah,
ripped up on beers
yeah, we did.
beforehand.
And
That
hot
was
dogs.
fun.
Yeah.
That was so yeah. So dude, but the thing I like always come back to about that trip was like that was like probably one of the most surreal weeks
Yeah.
of my life
Yeah.
where it was like we're in Paris, France. I'm with three of my best friends in the entire world.
Yeah.
I'm here watching like my girlfriend run in the Olympics. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, this is insane. And it just ended up being just like the most amazing week. And I think it also, in some ways, it also helped because like Elise and Val were in the village.
Right.
So like we weren't like, because obviously, like if we were staying with Elise and Val, it would have been different
Right.
because they would have been super focused on their races and we would have obviously
Not
you
necessarily in a bad way, but just in like
no, just it would have just been a different vibe.
yeah, we wouldn't
Yeah.
have him like been drinking at noon every day
Right.
and like
Yeah.
yeah, like
Yeah.
getting into dumb shit at 2 a.m.
Yeah, or ripping through like Paris on the city bikes because
Yeah.
like can you imagine if we were just like ripping through the city on city
Yeah.
bike on Velibes
Yeah.
with like Elise or Val in tow, like we'd be like constantly looking back and be like,
Yeah.
yo, don't break your, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And I mean, even when we got back, like we Ubered back and it was like it was one I mean, I feel like the Eugene trip was like this too, and like I went to San Diego and like racing trips is like, oh, that was so much fun. Now it's back to reality. But like truly when I got back from that, I was like, I missed Europe like a lot. And it was like it was more of like I'm back at work, like that's fine. I worked a little bit in Paris too, but now I'm like back in the US and I'm like really training and it was kind of like a full come down, which I've never had before because it was like truly nonstop and it was like yeah, it was we are in Paris in a place I've never been before and I've been fortunate enough to go to so many cool places, but seeing the Eiffel Tower absolutely rocked my world and just like being just like seeing all this cool stuff on bikes
yeah.
and then it was just like so much going on. We'd wake up in the morning and like try to barter our way into a Olympic Games. And I was like,
Yeah.
this is so crazy. And then yeah, everything over there is open so late. So you could get and that was like such an appeal to me is like anyone who runs on the track knows like you run a 5K at 9 p.m. You finish cooling down at 10, everything's fucking closed. And you
Yeah.
can't do anything like maybe you go back to the hotel and order Domino's, but in Paris is like we can watch the entire meet 4 to 10 bike all the way back out of Saint Denis to Paris, and then like sit down for a full meal.
Yeah.
It's like that was so sick. It was such quality. Like there was no like, oh, I'm kind of bored. It
No.
was like there's no like, oh, like I can't wait for tomorrow because like today's just kind of like a passer day. It was just like, oh, today I might not like we might not be doing the most really, but we're gonna get sloshed at a bar, and then we're gonna go get on a bike and like just be idiots through downtown Paris, and then like who knows where we're gonna end up next, and then yeah, it's just like, but you're also in Paris on bikes, and it's like, yeah, it's crazy.
It was a crazy week. It was just,
Yeah.
yeah, it was just one
And
of
it was
the,
cool, I think, in my perspective, like, I don't know what Val was saying, but like Elise was also kind of living vicariously through us.
oh, for
Because
sure.
like being in the village, obviously you're there for the Olympics, and like I can only hope someday I'm in the village and like locked in and like at the food hall and like doing all that like massages and like doing my runs. But like she's like, oh, what are you guys doing today? I was like, oh, wait till you fucking hear this. Like we went this place, we went that place, and like I've been drinking since two, and like yeah, and it was like really cool because at that point it was also like you appreciated everything because you had someone that you want to be with you guys, like
Yeah.
with us, but they're experiencing the total opposite. Like, oh, I've been in the hotel all day or like the village all day and I went for a run, I went for a double, and then like I want to hear about your day because you guys are living quite literally a movie.
Yeah. Well, that's a funny thing too, if you think about it, because it's like they made so many sacrifices to be there.
Yeah.
And then like we just got to
You
fucking
rode the
benefit.
coattails.
Yeah, dude, just benefited from that so much. And then they could basically up until they had to race, had to continue to sacrifice.
Yeah.
Like just the experiences that we got. But obviously, like there's nothing more special than running at the Olympics, in my
Right.
opinion.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, man, that trip, I will just, I
That's
mean,
nuts.
I think it exceeded even like what I hoped for.
Yeah.
It was just so much fun. Like it was just such a good group too. Like you, me, Emery, Phil. It was just
Yeah.
such a good group. We all got along. I mean, because Phil and I are super close, Charlie and I are super close, Emery and I are super close. But the three of you guys hadn't spent like a bunch of time together.
Yeah, I think I met Emery with that once when I got shit faced watching UFC. I think that was the only
Great
time.
night.
Yeah, the only
Great
time
night.
I
That was a
met.
great night. I knew from that night that you guys would get along swimming.
Yeah, yeah,
And then you would spend time with Phil.
a lot of video game time, but
Yeah.
I'd met him a few times,
Yeah.
and like,
But everyone in the group was so cool.
yeah,
But that is a thing where like you can go on trips and if you have one bad egg, like I've told you stories,
yeah,
you have one bad egg, it can ruin the whole trip.
for sure.
So, but I was super confident that like the three of you, like the four of us would all just have like an amazing time.
Yeah,
And I
and
I
it
think I was
happened.
on the fucking
Yeah,
money
it
on that.
worked.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
damn.
that trip was a fucking banger.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah,
I would yeah.
that's crazy.
There's I mean, you know, just like even the first day when we were at the bow tie guy
Yeah,
and I'm helping people put their bikes up.
yeah.
Like
The first day
ripping
was fucked.
beers.
The first day was like, yeah, definitely ground zero because that plane was super hot, and we got in, and I was like jet lagged.
Yeah, Air France can go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
But besides the
And then
cheap
we got locked out of the Airbnb and we couldn't get in touch with the
oh
guy.
dude, I was
And
about
then the
to punch
Airbnb was
Phil.
like not as big as we thought it was.
Yeah, oh that's actually
And
okay.
we're just like,
Quick
what do we
side note.
do?
Phil and I booked the Airbnb and we were like, well, one, the first Airbnb we booked, I booked because I was like, we just need something. And then like Phil, what was the map app or whatever?
Hood maps.
Hood Maps.
Yeah.
Hood Maps said that the area that we booked in Paris was like super dangerous.
Yeah. Like
Well,
avoid at all costs.
yeah, and I was like,
Especially if you're American.
yeah,
But it turns out that's where like Val's parents stayed. It was in
yeah, it would have been fine.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we stayed where we did.
Yeah, definitely.
But like, the first place we booked wasn't as nice, and it wasn't as nice of an area. So then we were like, oh, let's book something else. And then everything we looked at, we were trying to be price conscious to a certain extent. And Emery was like, oh, I don't want to spend that much, just like because
Yeah.
we're not going to spend that much time in the place.
True.
And then obviously we were trying to get you to come, so we were like,
Yeah.
we can't spend a shit ton of money on the place.
Hmm.
And then so Phil and I were like, fuck it, dude. Let's just get some banger plays. And like we'll pay for like whatever anyone else isn't willing to.
Yeah.
And we were so hyped on the
Yeah.
place that we booked on
You guys wouldn't even
Airbnb.
tell us.
No, we were like, we're gonna get there. You guys are
Yeah.
your minds are gonna be blown.
Yeah.
And we get there, and it was super disappointing because
But for Europe, it was cool.
it was cool for Europe, but the place in the pictures looked way bigger.
Yeah,
And
that's
then we
true.
got there and it was microscopic.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
and the downstairs smelled like
The
mold.
downstairs was fucked, but it was also the coolest because there's no fucking AC in Europe for whatever reason.
Yeah, dude.
But it was the coldest place, but it smelled horrible, and there was a sauna down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that was wild. But that first day was like kind of the most brutal because then it was like we had that guy who spoke French, but I feel like that was way worse because I feel like when you're with someone who speaks fluent French, everyone expects you to also speak fluent French versus like if you're just idiots on your own, just like trying to sound out words.
Well, and Emery wasn't there yet either.
True. Yeah. Yeah.
She
We just
came the
had like
next
way
day.
more success, in my opinion. And it was just like way less pressure to be like really broken French, like I just want a beer.
Yeah.
Or just like I don't speak French versus like this guy who's like ordering for us and then like trying to translate for us. It was like just cut out the middleman. Like these guys know we don't speak French. So we don't need to like lead them on and be like, oh, like I'm gonna try to sound out. Can I please have like a burger and a beer? Versus
Yeah.
like I don't speak French, dog. Just get me a beer.
And that was the funny part too, is like Phil was so dedicated
Yeah, he
to
was.
trying to speak French. And I
Yeah.
was like, dude,
Just
you
try.
sound like an idiot.
I feel yeah.
But I respect
Yeah.
that you're because he was trying to be respectful.
Right.
But his French that he
So
knew
bad.
was so bad
Yeah.
that I was like, dude, it's almost disrespectful.
Right.
Because like every word you pronounce, I'm pretty sure you're pronouncing incorrectly.
It just sounds worse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you and me were just like, whatever.
Yeah. I feel like outside of the Olympics, like yeah, you can pull the respect thing,
Yeah,
but it's like so many people are there
yeah.
who don't even speak English. Like at least we speak English. Like I feel
Yeah.
like English is like the
English
top.
is an international
Yeah,
language.
and so it's like at least we speak English versus, and so everyone knows going into the Olympics, like if you're a restaurant worker, you're gonna be like, oh, this is gonna be fucked. Like
Yeah, we're very spoiled that we
Yeah,
speak English,
right.
and most countries speak
yeah.
no or like have to kind of know
And so
English.
yeah, I didn't really even try. I mean, I learned a couple words, but I wouldn't really even try. I'd just be like,
No, you and me were on the same page. We're
and most
like,
of the places even had an English menu. Maybe it was just for the Olympics, but it was just like, do you
no,
need
no,
an English menu?
that's pretty common, I think.
Really?
Yeah, from my experience.
Yeah,
definitely.
but yeah, I mean, I didn't even try.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was in the same
This
boat.
is
I was like,
pointless.
I'll say like merci and like
Yeah,
like what
exactly.
what the fuck's hello? But Bill was dedicated.
Yeah,
And it was funny. I definitely ripped Spanish a couple
you
times
did. Yeah,
because I would like because some aspects of French sound kind of similar to Spanish, and I
Yeah.
was like, oh por favor, oh fuck, like I would say like please in Spanish, and I was like, holy shit, I'm an idiot.
yeah.
But yeah, that trip was dude, I like in the night, the hotel trying to take a piss in the hotel.
That was crazy.
That
dude.
was funny.
Yeah, that was wild too. That was just more bullshit. That was like the most French I tried to speak, and it was straight Spanish.
Dude.
It's like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
wild.
There's just so many aspects of that trip that I love.
Yeah, but that's not your top.
So yeah, so my top one, absolutely, in my opinion, has to be like watching Val win the trials.
True. Yeah, because you're in that box too.
Well, it had nothing to necessarily do with the box. The Nike box was cool that they like let us go and like sit there and like be right by the finish line. But it was just like so like Val's season, right? So we went from she's before she even runs, right? It's like, hey, the goal is just to go to the trials.
Yeah.
Just go to the trials would be a huge accomplishment after everything you've been through. It'd be such a cool thing just to be able to run. Like like no matter what happens, like if you accomplish that, that's such a huge accomplishment. And then she goes and runs that first race at Oxy and she wins. And then it's like, okay,
Yeah.
you beat some pretty good people. You ran pretty fast. That was your opener in the steeple. Like maybe there's more here, right? And then the next race was pre
Yeah.
for her. She goes to pre, and I told her because Val and I I'll warm up with her before the races. I think it like helps her be like a lot more calm. just because we run together so much anyways.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but I was like, I think you can be top American.
Mm-hmm.
I really think you can be top American. She didn't put herself in like the best position, but she has a really good kick. And over the last lap, she was able to close the distance and like nipped Courtney right at the line and was like top American.
Mm-hmm.
And then as soon as she was top American, it was like, well, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like you should be, I mean, like technically speaking, like I think you can win,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Because pre is like as close to a trials preview as you can get. A
Yeah.
Diamond League and
Well,
America.
yeah, it was like basically all the top people like Chrissy, Courtney,
Mm-hmm.
uh, Gabby,
Mm-hmm.
and
The
then Val, and then the Bowerman girl. I'm blanking on her name. But anyways, so then it went from
Kaylee
like,
Mitchell.
yeah, Kaylee Mitchell. Then it went from, oh my God, just competing. But I had to like keep bringing it back. I feel like with Val, because I was like, look, regardless of how you do, just going is huge.
Yeah.
Just going is huge.
Mm-hmm.
But it was also in the back of our minds. I was like, but you should probably win. Like
Yeah.
or you could win.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so we were, I mean, we talked about it a lot before she went. I mean, she got through the semis like perfectly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, she we had talked about it a lot. Like, there's no reason you can't win. And like because of everything she'd been through, all the hard shit, it's like you're in a great spot. Your kick is crazy. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's no reason you can't win. And like on the warm up, we just had this like great like conversation, and she was
Yeah.
just like so like locked in and so confident. I knew, and I kept telling her, I was like, dude, you can fucking win.
Yeah.
I was like, it's not like no matter what happens, it's a huge accomplishment that you're even here, but you
Mm-hmm.
can fucking win.
Yeah.
And she just goes out there and just has that like the craziest race. Yeah, just like watching that for like someone that you care so much about, like
Yeah.
after everything she's been through to like be like, holy shit, just being at that race would be such a huge thing. And then, from 3 years prior, like making the team and that being surprising.
Yeah, that's true.
And that was a crazy moment.
Yeah.
That was a crazy moment. Like I remember specifically like watching her run that, like literally like shaking. Like
Yeah.
because I was like, holy shit, what just happened? And that was like, and I've said to Val ever since that moment, like I don't know if that'll ever happen again.
Mm.
Like that feeling of watching that,
Yeah.
and I think that moment was even better. Like
Yeah.
because it was like, yeah, just like the culmination of so many things. So yeah, for me, that's my number one. Hopefully, people don't think I'm a piece of shit, but I
At
I
least, yeah, you saved with a vowel.
yeah, I mean, that was just like the craziest thing, like watching someone that's been through so much and just like doing something they love and like achieving like kind of the pinnacle at that race and like setting a meet record. And
Yeah.
it was just crazy. It was
Yeah.
just crazy. And I remember like after the race, like we were all so hyped. Like I came and saw you and Evan,
Yeah.
and then I convinced Evan to stay that night, and Evan and I are like going to meet everyone at this like Nike party,
Yeah.
and we're like running down a street, and it's like
Yeah.
pitch black, and we're like, I like it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just cool.
Yeah.
So that was a really that was my number one for sure.
Dang. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. So but I mean, pretty much all of them were like about Val or about my friends and
Yeah.
doing fun shit.
Yeah.
Nothing like super personal, but
Dang.
yeah, it was a good year.
Yeah, it was.
It was a sick year. And there's a lot of other like really sick
Yeah,
moments.
crazy honorable things involved. I bought a truck. That was cool.
You bought a truck.
San Diego trip was dope. Even just training in the summer, like I just was like, after the trials, I was like really bummed and thought about retiring and just like,
You did?
yeah,
You never told me that.
yeah. I just was like, I'm done with this. Like, I don't want to do it anymore. Or just
Yeah.
like taking like a hard year reset, just to like focus on, not that I'm not focused on work, but just like really just do like the
Do the
lifting
work
and
thing.
yeah. And I think I was very caught up in that and not in a good headspace and like yeah, the coaches at the time that I was under was just like, yeah, maybe you should just like call it because U.S. running is so good.
They said that?
Yeah.
Really?
hmm
Oh,
And
jeez.
I think it was just like being like from a more supportive place of like, if that's what'll make you happy, then
Yeah.
call it. Like you
Yeah.
can't half send this, which is totally fair, but it was also like negative reinforcement to me. So I was like, and then that's when I started like training on the track and doing like Portland track stuff and like yeah, pacing Elise and just like helping people out in the Boulder community of like trying to chase their dreams. And it was like, that's when I put myself to the side and was just like, I'm gonna help Ty qualify for the trials. I'm gonna help like these 1500, like Austin Dockquist, I'm gonna help him try to qualify for the trials, or like other people racing a marathon in the summer, like I'm gonna help them with like nutrition, or just like finding that balance. And then now when I'm ready to do it, I'm back in it. And so yeah, that was a big highlight for sure. Just that kind of perspective. And then like yeah, obviously doing well at work, and like really just like finding a home in Boulder is like really, I feel like this past year is like really is like this is my home now.
Yeah.
And that's a huge highlight because like before I was like I'm in school, or like I'm trying this running thing, I'm not sure how it's gonna work, and like I don't know if I can make it happen. But now in 2024 at least, it was more of this is where I want to be, and these are the people I want to be around, and this is what I want to do for the foreseeable future. And I'm
Yeah.
not questioning that anymore. And so that was for sure a highlight as well. But yeah, plenty of other highlights in there. Like I said, the trials were dope. Let's see what else was in there. I guess Gage's wedding was 2 years ago, right? 2023. Yeah, it was 2023, summer
Yeah, what?
2023.
Yeah, because it was right after Val was
That
still her
was a
knee
dope
brace.
wedding too.
That was
That
fun.
was crazy. Uh,
Yeah, I posted the last picture of the pod was from that.
yeah, that was
Did you
crazy.
notice
Yeah, that was
that?
2023.
Yeah. Yeah. No, dude, I don't know. Yeah, this whole year for me was, it sounds kind of corny, I guess, but for me, this year was really special to me because so many of my friends just had like such, like my friends and Val just had like such great years.
Mhm.
And like I just kind of got to like be there and
Yep.
just like see like you running super well was so cool, and like kind of like chasing your dreams, and then like just like I don't know, just like getting to experience these like super cool moments with my friends. I
Yeah.
don't know, it was just I don't know, there was just so many like cool things, and I'm personally like did well, had a really good year at work, and
Yeah.
like got a
Bought the car.
promotion, bought a M2, which makes me feel like a little boy, which I absolutely love. Like that car is so sick.
There's an illegal Pete's like 5 minutes away now. That's the
Dude, fucking
highlight.
shout out Pete's and their crazy
Yeah,
margaritas.
big highlight there. Illegal Pete's
Yeah, we've
coming to
hit that
South
up
Boulder.
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, just like a great year. Makes me super excited for next year.
Yeah,
So,
honestly, yeah.
yeah. But yeah, just a good year, and I think I don't know. I feel like obviously like a lot of my life centers around, helping Val currently.
Yeah.
And I think this year was just cool because she kind of hit her stride.
Right.
So it's like exciting for next year.
Yeah,
But
like
all,
a more reinforced like status.
yeah, yeah. And just like, yeah, but yeah, just, I think it was just an all around good year. An
Yeah.
all around good year.
Yeah.
A lot of like just great time with friends and like super, super memorable experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can't even remember really like too many trips over the last few years, but I feel like there was like multiple trips, like
Yeah.
going to Eugene, going to Paris, like I don't know, all the stuff.
Rome.
Yeah,
So good.
Rome. Yeah, I mean, go down the list.
Yeah,
Just
honestly.
just like a
Yeah.
sick year.
Yeah.
So, and all even going to all the meets with like Val.
Yeah.
Like yeah, like in at pre, we after Val like ran a PR
Mm-hmm.
and like was first American. You remember Levi
Yeah.
from Western?
Yeah.
He was
Taylor,
there.
yeah.
We went and grabbed like pizza with him.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that.
that's part of yeah, it's like I was just thinking about that in Portland too, is like I went to I went to Portland to pace just for fun
Yeah.
because like everyone like people I knew were going from Boulder, and then yeah I hit up Tate, and he's like, yeah, I'll pay you like to come out. No, that's fine. And then yeah, I paced like a 5 and a 10K just straight off vibes, and like definitely wasn't in fitness to run like 14 flat from the front in a 10K, but I did it because it was
Mhm.
just fun. And then the next day I came back and ran 20, I don't know, multiples of 400, 7 times 4 is 2,800 at like 13:20 pace, which is 15 seconds faster than my PR, with like also just off vibes and not really like tapering or not really training other than like the training I was doing at the lease. And like I get there and Tate's like, "Oh, are you cool if you have a roommate?" And I was like, "Of course I'm cool if I have a roommate. Like I'm a pacer. I don't expect to have my own room." And he's like, "Okay, like is there anyone that I shouldn't put you with? I was like, I don't think, like, this is a trick question. He's like, well, your roommate's Paul Chelimo. And I was like, fuck. Like,
I didn't
maybe,
know
yeah,
that.
I was like, maybe, like, make sure it's cool with him. Like, I don't fucking care. But, like, yeah, so I roomed with Paul Chelimo for a weekend.
No
For the
way.
track.
You've
Yeah.
never told me
Yeah, it was
that.
crazy. So it was like,
Was Paul
just
Shalimo a chiller?
so dope, bro.
Was he?
Yeah, so sick. I
Sick.
showed him South Park for the first time. He'd
No
never seen
way.
it. Yeah. We stayed up till 3 a.m.
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
Just watching South Park.
Dude, that's like a crazy.
Yeah. It
That's
was crazy.
crazy.
Yeah, it was wild. And then
You
he's
you watched South Park with a silver medalist, bro.
yeah, and but at the time he was like kind of like he hadn't hit the world standard yet, and he was like qualified for the trials, but he wanted to do the road stuff because he had just ran a decent half. And so I was like talking to him through like he was asking me questions about the roads.
No way.
I was like, this is fucking crazy. Like I just came out here to like pace and make some side money just for fun, and now I'm
Yeah.
like pillow talking with Paul Stroman about like the roads and his plan and like his new sponsorship. And he's like telling me all about like Nike sponsorships and stuff. And yeah, he's like telling me his full plan and like shout out him. I'm sure he doesn't listen to this, but
We should tag him.
that would be crazy. He
Do
told me like his full
you,
year
do you have
plan,
a picture of Paul Shalimo? You gotta have a selfie
not a selfie. I think I took a picture of him
watching South Park.
getting out of the shower in his Calvin Kleins. I'm pretty
Dude,
sure I can find that on my phone, but no, he was a
let's
chiller.
throw that up
Just
on the
like,
Bro Hear Me Out Instagram.
yeah. I thought I would learn a lot. I did not learn anything from him. He like stayed up till 3 and then slept till 12 and then went out for Mexican food the day of his race
No way.
and then dropped out of his race and then went out partying with some of the guys from Western. My current roommate Simon partied with Paul because they both speak uh I'm not what is it Somalian or Somalian? I
Somalian?
think that's
I don't
the
know.
most popular, but they speak the native African language, and so like yeah, he went out partying with them, which is crazy because it's like my mutual friends and Paul Chalima, who's my roommate. And then yeah, he like missed his flight in the morning because he was too hungover, and I had to wake him up to be like, Paul, you're missing your fucking flight. Like it was crazy, bro. But it's
Really?
yeah, it was
Why
like
didn't you tell me this? That's a crazy
it was
story.
just like a fever dream because it was like
Dude,
36 hours because he got in super late too, and that's why I was watching South Park because I was like, I want to dap this guy up, but it's also 11:30 p.m. So I'm gonna go to bed, and he just like pulls up. He's like, "Are you my roommate?" I was like, "Well, I'm here, right?" Like, yeah. And so yeah, that was like another honorable mention, but yeah,
dude, that's a great way to describe 2024 fever dream.
yeah, in
It
the best
was.
way. I mean, like, yeah, yeah. I feel
Dude,
like fever dreams in general are just like this was kind of like a weird, mysterious spot. But yeah, I was like, and I talked about this a couple of times recently, like with my parents and just like transitioning into the new year, like what do you want to do? Or like what's your resolution? I think resolutions are so stupid.
I do agree.
But like something I want to continue, like bring into 2025 that I think I did really well in 2024 is just like move towards what makes me happy.
Yeah.
And like I think I did a really good job of that, especially in the second half of 2024. Is
Yeah.
like Portland made me really happy, so I just sent it. And like I wasn't in fitness to do that. Like Tate asked me, "Can you pace this?" And I was like, "I'm gonna shoot you straight, bro. I don't think I can, but I'll try." And he's
Yeah.
like, "Well, if you can't, I won't pay you, but if you could do, I will pay you." It was like, just try. And the same thing with like Eugene, same thing with Paris. Just like this is gonna make me happy. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
And it's like then we can figure out finances or we can figure out other stuff. But it's like even the roads or like not retiring is like if I don't or if I do retire, I'm not gonna be happy.
Right.
If I run 218 for the rest of my days, I'm at least gonna be happy doing it. And so it's like just finding stuff that makes me happy and whether it's like friendships, not to get super deep, but like friendships or relationships with other people in work or in the community or just like things you like to do, just finding what makes you happy and also being able to say no. Cause like there's plenty of times like I feel like I used to be like, yeah, we should go for a run. And it's like, I don't really want to run with this person. And it doesn't happen as often as it sounds like it does. But it's just like finding stuff that makes you happy because life is just too short to be like, yeah, I'm gonna go waste my time and like not be stoked on this.
Dude, I mean, yeah, it's kind of a corny conversation, but it's honestly so true how easy it is to just caught up in being like, oh, I should do this.
Yeah,
Like even when Paris for you was
yeah,
like, dude, I feel like I'm being irresponsible.
right.
And I was like, bro, this is the fucking thing to be
Yeah,
irresponsible about.
yeah,
Because we are gonna love this memory of like
Right.
going on this trip forever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree, man. I mean, I think that's a great like thing to like try to carry on into 2025 is
Yeah.
because it is really easy. I think life and like I don't know, just it's very easy to get caught up in being like, oh, I should do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And what you should do and what makes you happy don't always align.
Right. Which
And
most of the time they do,
yeah,
especially being younger. But yeah, there are some times where you have to, especially at an age where you're making decisions of like, should I save up for a house or should I buy a really sick truck? Or should I like get a dog or should I put money away? It's like, yeah, there are definitely better decisions to make. And when the time comes down to it, you don't want to be an idiot.
yeah,
But also, if it's just like kind of minuscule and it's not really going to make a difference next week, why wouldn't you just do what's going to make you the happiest now? And it's like, well, at least say the Eugene trip went down the drain, but it was dope. Like I was there and I had fun. I stayed in our RV. Like that was sick.
yeah,
Versus like, oh, I didn't, and I stayed at home and I ran 150 miles a week, and I got really fit and maybe shaved 10 seconds off my marathon. It's like end of the day when I'm like really hurting in a marathon at like mile 24, I'm not gonna think about that obscure week. I'm gonna be like, probably won't think about this either. But if I had to think about something, I'd be like, oh, I went to Eugene. Like that was sick.
yeah,
And it's like that's yeah, that's my biggest thing that I want to take into 2025. As yeah, cheesy as it is, but I feel like it just like yeah, it makes me a lot happier, and that translates for me more directly to running and directly to work and directly to doing more stuff like this. And it's like starting a podcast. Like we didn't know if we do it after week one, but we're like we're gonna strap in for like 8 weeks.
yeah,
And like if it's shitty, then oh well. And like the first episode I listened to it last week too is like like yeah, if there's one person who reaches out and is like that was cool, it's like that's all I need. And
yeah,
like that's part of it is like some people can be like, oh, no one really cares if one person follows our Instagram or one person rates us 5 stars and it's Val because she listens to it.
yeah.
But it's like that's still enough for me to be like, that was cool and that was memorable. And it's like I don't really need any external validation anymore.
I just feel like we have so much fun doing this.
Yeah.
Like just talking about Paris, I'm just like,
Yeah.
fuck. I'm
Yeah.
so yeah. But no, dude, yeah. I mean, for me, like one of the things I want to carry over, I think this is sounds weird, but I got like a ton of like satisfaction this year. Obviously, primarily from like I've always loved watching Val do well,
Hmm.
but I like it, dude. It is like super cool to see all of your friends
Yeah.
do super well at like Phil bought a house.
Right.
Huge like milestone. Like just like so in my opinion, like so cool.
Yeah.
Not I don't want to say like I'm proud of Phil. I
Yeah.
am proud of Phil. I
Right.
don't know, it sounds weird saying, but like just love that dude. Like love that he like took that step with the Chelseanator, which is his
Chelseanator.
lady, which is she's amazing. But and love that like you did like you had like a great year in running, but also just like, just found like I feel like you've just been super happy,
Yeah.
which has just been like, I don't know, like super cool to see and like getting to hang out. Like Emery moved back to
True.
Boulder and getting to spend time with her and like and Val and I don't know, just yeah, for me, like I just want to carry on just like trying to find I feel like life is so busy
Yeah.
and it's really hard to find time to spend. I mean, I think one of the biggest benefits of us just doing this podcast is like, hey, every week we got to hang out for 2 hours
Yeah.
because sometimes we
Right.
don't always get it.
Yeah.
Life is busy, right? Like
Yeah,
we got,
and yeah, like I said it after we finish. I mean, this is tough to say now, but it'll get better. But like, I'm going to Flag next
yeah,
week, and it's like even last week we were like, yeah, the Zoom podcast was cool, but that takes more practice than just like sitting down
yeah,
because it's like there is more. Like I can't tell when you're about to say something, or I can't tell like
yeah,
you're getting into something, rather than me just like interjecting and like that's also part of it is like yeah we have many phone calls throughout the week or like once a week or whatever, but yeah the Zoom thing is like tough, and so yeah doing this and just like sitting down like chilling for a bit and just like slowing down, not thinking about work or running or like actually running, we can think about running, but just like other stuff like that normally we wouldn't talk about. Like
yeah,
we talk about like Paris a lot, but we wouldn't talk like I've never told you the Paul Chelimo stories. Like
yeah,
I would,
dude,
yeah.
that's sick.
But
That's
to
so
me, it's just
cool.
like a grain of sand in like 2024. But it's like yeah, when you step back from it, it's like, yeah, that I forgot about that. That was crazy because it was only like 2 days.
Yeah.
But then like, yeah, then you think about like what happened in Portland in my life. It's like leaving Portland, we went to the Nike employee store and I got some crazy fits. And then like we missed the plane. And then like
You missed the plane?
yeah, we missed the plane out of
Holy
Portland.
shit.
And then I got
Gross.
hammered in the Portland airport with like Ty and Elise. And I was like, yeah, it was great. Like it was just
Elite
like,
marathoners can't get hammered, apparently.
yeah, most of them do. Shout out Suguru Osaka. But yeah, so yeah, I think it's just cool to see your homies, like people you actually care about. It's cool to see anyone doing well, but it's cool to see, like you said, people like I found this a lot with Marquise. He just moved to California, but
Yeah.
Marquise Bowden. We got really close in like this past year, and it's cool to see him starting his own car detailing business, and does well in Boulder of all places. And
Yeah.
then like he wanted to run under 240 in at CIM, he ran 233, and then he decided like he told me he would never move back to California unless it was for the right reasons because he loves Boulder so much. And he moved back to California to be with his mom and to be with his grandma and his current girlfriend. And it's like just seeing people do stuff that they want to do because I know like it makes me so happy, and then seeing other people be like find that same fulfillment that I
Yeah.
feel, it's like, oh, that's so sick. And it's like, yeah, that's, I mean, it gives me chills just thinking about it. It's like knowing people are feeling what I'm feeling or what I've discovered I can feel is like, yeah, it's so rewarding. And whether it's like in running or people's jobs or like, yeah, a lot of that comes from people taking a leap of faith or like just doing something out of their comfort zone, which is just way cooler to have more cemented relationships that it's not just like you have 30 friends because they're on the team with you. You have four friends, but they're like your ride or dies. And
Yeah.
it's like that's way cooler and you're way more invested in like yeah, it's cool to see Emery doing well. It's like when she's on Strava, it's like, oh, that was dope. Emery went out for a run. Like, I wonder how she's doing. Or like Phil buying the house and getting two dogs. It's like these
Yeah.
people are living their own lives and I care about it.
Yeah.
It's not like at Western or at CU is like, oh, other people are like doing cool stuff, but I'm not close enough to like feel the need to reach out. And it's the same, like they wouldn't reach out to me, which is fine. It's life.
Yeah.
But like now it's like there's a select amount of people as you get older. I think it just gets smaller and smaller that like they reach out to you, you reach out to them, and you're invested in that.
Yeah.
And it's like I think getting to the age of finding that group is like so cool.
Yeah, and I think there's something to be said about like when you're younger, and not to say that we're old, but like when you're younger and you're like in college or getting out of college, you're so concerned with like your immediate like world, I feel like,
Hmm.
that it's hard to like care about much other than like what you have going on
Yeah.
and like figuring out things in your life. And I feel like both of us are in places where like we're in really good spots,
Hmm.
with work, with like our relationships, whatever.
Right.
And I feel like when you're in a good spot, it helps you appreciate more than just like what you have going on
Yeah.
and be able to like enjoy, like find, I don't know the right way to say it, but like fulfillment from the people that you care about around you,
Hmm.
like doing really well. And not to say
Yeah.
everything's perfect by any means, but
Right.
just like, hey, like I'm in a really good spot, and I don't really care like
Yeah.
about like talking about. I don't really like. I'm gonna chase my goals. I want to like do well at work or get more fit in some way, shape, or form, whatever. But what I really care about is, hey, like I'm gonna do my thing. I'm gonna like keep getting better any way I can.
Hmm.
But it's cool to see other people do really well
Yeah.
because like I'm doing well,
Hmm.
but I'd rather see like I'm doing well and I'm gonna keep working hard to do well.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited to see my friends do well.
Yeah.
I don't know. That sounds super corny,
Yeah.
but for me and like that, I feel like that's like the best way to describe 2024 is like just like seeing the people I like care most about just like crush it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely hard to describe until you feel it, I would say.
Yeah.
Or until you accept it. Like you're secure enough in your own life that like you're like, okay, I'm cool here, regardless of what happens like in my life. It's cool to like I'm finding more or just additional joy in like seeing other people do well too.
And dude, that's the thing, like the other podcast when I was talking about like all my work stuff
Yeah.
and like how much I used to work and
Yeah.
stuff. And it's like I was so focused on myself.
Right.
And it was just like, yeah, it's cool, but I look back on that and I don't like look back on that and be like, oh man, I missed that.
Mm-hmm.
But I will miss 2024.
Yeah, true.
Like I will
Yeah.
miss 2024 and all the shit. And I feel like it's almost because of all the cool shit we had going on and not because it was like, oh, I was so focused on like crushing it at work. And like work isn't, whatever. Anyway,
Yeah.
anyways,
Yeah. Yeah, like it, yeah. If you told me last year I would own a truck
yeah.
and like I don't know, like yeah, like room with Paul Chalima, who I've looked up to for so long, and
Yeah.
get paid a decent chunk. Shout out Tate again for pacing. I'd be like, if you told me that last year at the ending of 2023, I'd be like, yeah, of course that's gonna be my top two memories or top
Right.
three, like buying a truck. But like I had to think twice about it in like the truck. Like none of that made my top three. And
Yeah.
like I don't even, I'm not even confident to make my top five, which is
Yeah.
cool because it's like you're less concerned about material stuff
Yeah.
and you're less it's like yeah I love my truck and you love your MT but it's like
God, I love
the
that car.
memories are just like the vibes like I would give up obviously the truck to go back to Paris or like do that again
Well, I don't know if you give it up, but it would be cool to go back.
for a week I'd give up I'd give up aspects of it
Well, but the thing about like the cars is like every time I go and like turn on the M2, I'm like, oh God, that thing's so cool. And it's probably like, like you get like the like small enjoyment every day,
yeah
which is like important.
right
I feel like one of the things Val and I talk about sometimes too, and this is kind of related, kind of unrelated, but it's interesting because I feel like so much of life is like monotony of doing almost the same thing most days.
mm-hmm
So it's like how do you enjoy just enjoying like doing almost the same routine like
yeah
every day.
yeah
And if you can find like really like a high level of like, like fulfillment, enjoyment from just like doing almost mundane things that you
mm-hmm
do every day, that's like kind of, I don't know. Again, corny sounding, but
yeah
kind of sounds like to I don't know. I feel like I kind of realize that it's like
yeah
if you're just like happy doing like if you can find enjoyment in doing like the same routine every day, you've kind of made it.
I was gonna say that's what life's about.
Yeah.
It's like every day I want to go into it and be like, at the end of the day, when I go to sleep, like this part of my day was dope.
Yeah.
And it's like whether it's just a run or as dinner or as
Yeah.
like I watched a football game and like, yeah, whatever it was, I want to look forward to one thing every day. Most of the time it's way more than that. But even like those very monotonous, like gray days that you don't have a lot going on and like maybe Val or Lisa's out of town and like everyone's out of town or you're like last week when I was at my parents' house, my parents were out of town, my grandparents were there. It's like what am I looking forward to today is like, oh, I made a fire in their fireplace and I worked and I like ate a shit ton of Christmas cookies. It's like and then when I laid down that night, I was like, I didn't really do much today, but that was sick. Like I'm
Yeah.
gonna remember that. And so yeah, when you're just like going through the motions of like, oh, I'm gonna go to work, I'm gonna work out, it's not gonna be sick because I'm not invested in it and I'm gonna have a dinner and I'm not really going to be invested in that either because I'm watching TV. It's like there's too many distractions. But yeah, finding something in every day that you look forward to and that you think about when you fall asleep of like today was cool because that's so cool.
But the cool because could be like the same thing you did the day before.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as long as you remember that, yeah, that day. It's like
Yeah.
you're not going to be like, oh, what did I do last Thursday?
Yeah.
Or like you could, but it's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, that was the day that I don't know what day. I'm kind of contradicting myself here, but it was like I went to the Nuggets game. Or like last Thursday, I almost missed the flight to go to
Well, I
McDonald's. It
think
was like,
I think to your point, like you can find happiness in kind of like the mundane activities, but
yeah,
then when you go do something that's like outside of that, it
yeah,
makes it even more special.
right,
Which is also like why I think Paris was so
yeah,
special,
true,
right? Like it's like, hey, like we're like pretty happy.
yeah,
But then we go to Paris and it's like, holy shit,
yeah, that's
this was
true,
fucking cool,
yeah,
you know?
yeah,
So, yeah, yeah, sounds super corny, but like, I don't know, 2024 made me like very grateful for just everyone and all the experiences we had, and it makes me excited for 2025 because I feel like we're all in a place where it's like a lot of the things that made 2024 so cool
yeah,
can definitely like the basics are all there for
yeah,
2025 to
hmm
be even better.
true,
So,
yeah,
yeah, I'm like super excited about that. But
dang, yeah,
yeah, it'll be a banger year,
yeah.
hopefully.
Then what do you have on deck? What's 2025 look like right now?
I mean, 2025 for me, so like work just like I'm working towards another promotion at work, so hopefully I check that off. But work is going well, so hopefully that just kind of like
Mm,
keeps going well. Hopefully it can get even better, but even if it just maintains, that would be awesome.
mm.
But yeah, definitely want to work towards a promotion. I want to get so I've been pacing Val more recently
Nice.
in
Yeah.
workouts, which has been fucked. Like, because I start because Val's been doing a lot more double threshold stuff.
Yeah.
So I'll hop in on like the second workout
Nice.
and like help pace her on the second workout.
Yeah.
But I mostly have just for like the last 4 years or whatever, or 5 years, I've just really done mileage.
Right.
Like I'll go around easy days with her, or
Hmm.
maybe I'll do like a 10 banger with her or
Big
whatever.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be like the longest one, but for the most part, just mileage.
Hmm.
But some of these workouts, I've stayed like relatively fit enough
Yeah.
that I can like do them with her.
Hmm.
So, um, yeah, like pacing her through like whatever, like 14 by 400.
Yeah.
But I've been doing that the last couple months, and like every week I'll have a new fucking injury. Like by the first week I did it, my right hamstring just got fucked.
Jeez.
And then like we were in Hawaii and my like calf just like imploded. Um and yeah, but it's like starting to get better. Hopefully the treadmill I'll be able to hit a little more
True. Yeah.
consistently.
Some
But
progression runs, some
yeah,
sneaky training.
so not that I'm like looking to get fit for any reason, but I'd like to try to help her with like if she's doing double workouts.
Yeah.
Like I won't be able to keep up with her on the track. Like if she's
Yeah.
doing like something fast.
Yeah.
But if I can like actually be helpful in the workouts, but
Source
like
on value.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, outside of like just like keeping her company on easy runs,
Hmm.
that'd be pretty cool. And also like that's like to me, like from a training perspective, fun track workouts are
Yeah.
definitely the most fun.
Yeah.
And I kind of miss that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for me, I would like to do more, like help Val with more workouts, not only to just help her, but I think it's fun.
Hmm.
And then I also, this is gonna sound so fucking dude. This is gonna sound so bad. I kind of want to get jacked in 2025.
Wow. You want to increase your track records, but also get
Dude, it
jacked?
makes sense, okay? Yeah, I kind of want to get jacked in 2025.
I kind of want to start running the 100-meter dash.
Oh
I
God.
kind of want to qualify for
I'm kind
the
of contradicting
trials.
myself. Yeah. Um, yeah, so maybe some actually, okay. So yeah, continue to do well in work, maybe do even better if possible. Be consistent. I'd like to actually be able to detach from work more though.
Mm,
I feel like I still struggle with that. I feel like my early part of my career created some super poor tendencies for
yeah.
me
Okay.
with how much I work. So I'd like to continue working on detaching from work more. I'd like to go to bed earlier.
Nice.
I'd like to get better
Yeah.
sleep, go to bed earlier. I'd like to pace Val more in workouts and not have an injury every week and then do the next workout and get injured again. Um, yeah, and I'd like to maybe throw on a few more pounds of muscle.
Wow. Fitness guy.
I don't know. Oh, and my last thing is in 2023, Phil and I were biking like a ton.
Yeah.
And then in 2024, we kind of stopped biking as much.
Hmm.
So I'd like to mountain bike more in 2024 or 2025.
Nice.
So yeah, that's rounded that out. What about
Yeah.
you?
Pick it up, Phil. We need
Yeah.
we need
No,
some
Phil, that's
motivation.
not Phil's fault. That's
Oh.
probably more me. That's probably more my
Sorry,
fault.
Phil.
Yeah. Yeah. Love you, Phil. My bad, dog. So, all right, what about you?
Yeah, very, I mean,
That was kind of like a summary of like
yeah,
what
that was
I'd
a
like
summary.
and not
I
like
was
to
gonna break
do.
it down as a timeline.
Okay, yeah, you do timeline. That's good. That was just like I don't really have a
Yeah.
timeline. Mine is just like more like general like
Yeah.
things.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think going to as Jordy Beamish calls it, fleeg
Does
stuff.
he call it
Yeah,
fatigue?
because of his accent.
Yeah.
Yeah, flag will be cool. I think training there in like just seeing what that's like, finally figuring out which is better, Boulder or flag. I think that'll be really cool.
I mean Boulder.
I'm
Don't
thinking it's
even
Boulder, but
don't
you never
even fuck
know. You
around.
never
Don't
know.
even fuck around with that.
And then
Flag is better for training scientifically.
yeah, yeah.
Take that to the bank.
Yeah, take it. Yeah, write that down. Make sure you guys write that down.
That's from someone who really knows, okay? No, I'm kidding.
And then yeah, basically train decently well to I'm gonna race on the East Coast a couple times.
Any
Finishing,
race announcements, or we're gonna keep that
I think
for
I've already said I'm in Boston. But yeah,
Boston?
Boston, finishing in Boston in April, and then maybe I'm gonna try to race a little bit more in 2025 because I think people want to see that.
Okay.
I think like
Do you want to do that? Do you
I
want to
think I
race more?
can, yeah. I think it's just getting back into it. I think like NCAA can scar you. Like racing every 2 weeks is too much. But racing on the roads, I think I can. It's just like if it starts to get covered and I don't have to worry about logistics, or like if I don't have to pay for another pair of carbon plated shoes before another race, it's like that. Yeah, there's a couple.
Couple of things.
Yeah, there's some gatekeeping going on
All
here.
right.
But yeah, I think racing a little bit more. So there's like some more USA champs that could be softer this year, potentially. I think that's a loaded question. There's never a soft USA champs on the road because it's
There's a
so
couple US
stupid.
champs I'm gonna fucking win.
Yeah, yeah. And then yeah, the summer I like to just get out a little more, like travel more,
Yeah,
whether that's like through Grand Slam or just like driving the truck more. I've thought about driving the truck to Maryland a couple times. That would be crazy. Just
that'd be a
like
long
it
drive.
would be, but kind of make it like a scenic as you can going through the Midwest. I don't know what's out there. And then like yeah, popping off in the fall, like obviously training in the winter is harder than training in the summer. So I think training in the summer will come super easy. And then I think I would want to run like Valencia would be
That would be
cool,
crazy.
or like a marathon project could be cool, or even like another Chicago or New York, just depending on what the track season for Elise and Val would look like and
Mm.
going different places. But yeah, I think just racing a little bit more, being more consistent with it, and then just like I think that lends itself to happiness and working and all that stuff. I want to be more involved when I work. I think I'm still working on like I've only been working for a year and a half, and I think like I'm getting used to the corporate timeline of like a year and a half to me seems like forever. Like yeah, it seems like forever, but I think in the corporate world, a year and a half is not very long. And
Yeah,
so it's
true.
like being promoted, like I can foresee myself being promoted or like doing a more senior level position, but it wouldn't look great for the company or like I don't have enough experience. So like starting customer support, like it's very tough to get out of that in general. And then you get to marketing and it's like, well, you don't have as much marketing experience. Like you're 6 months in the marketing. So like I'm not going to give you a manager level marketing role. Like, yeah, rightfully so, but I feel like I can do well. So just like finding more patience in that is big for me in 2025, but also finding the balance of like I know I can do well and selling myself, but also not like overselling and being like listen to me and get impatient and like kind of taking a negative attitude towards it. So that's big. That's another conversation I think though. But yeah, pretty much just racing and traveling really just like it's nice. It's really cool because like at the beginning of this year, it was like I said, I thought about retiring. I was like,
That's crazy. You never told me about
might not ever do it again, or like might take a year off or 2 years off or until like the next cycle is like people are like saying, are you excited for 2028? It's like that's so fucking long.
that. Yeah.
But
It
it's
is, I
like
mean, it is far away.
but now it's like this year I can see myself like doing Boston and then a USA champs after that and then like being highly involved in the track again and then flowing from that straight to a fall marathon to or a winter marathon like Valencia's in December and then after that you just repeat and then the year's over again. So it's
Yeah.
like yeah, so it's really cool because that's always gonna excite me, but it's exciting to have a really good agent. Shout out Howie. Also shout out Larry, but shout out Howie's my current agent and yeah, get into races that are very rewarding and take some major scalps. But long-winded answer.
I don't have an agent, so can't get on that
Yeah,
same train.
but
What one thing I was gonna say that I think is kind of interesting relating to 2024 and 2025, it's super interesting seeing all the people like on social media
mm,
announce either like the end of their like long-term contracts
yeah,
or the start of new ones.
yeah, yeah. I feel like that's just like an Olympic year thing.
I know. It's
But
just
yeah, it is crazy. Or like retiring or like having kids.
yeah.
I feel like we're
Yeah,
getting to
yeah.
the age like a lot of the people that we're involved with or like kind of cross paths with are like getting out of the sport or
Yeah.
retiring or having kids, or yeah, like some people's contracts for better or worse are coming to an end because it's a business decision on the brand's part. And it's like, wow, that's crazy to like, we're gonna see someone else in a different uniform. Like
Yeah.
the Tin Man guys, like I'm pretty sure their team contract is over. So
Oh,
it's
with
like,
Adidas.
yeah, they
No
might not
way.
be Adidas, but they might. But they could
Dang.
be a Nike group or they could be a Puma group. Like that would be crazy. Or it's like then at that point, are those guys gonna go Puma? Like, is it gonna be like Sam and Drew gonna be Puma guys, or is it like is Reed gonna be a Nike guy? It's like, and then that brings you to the whole conversation of the Nike hubs. Like, where does that come from? Where
Yeah.
does that fit in? It's like, yeah. So I think just like having more ties to the running world, but also seeing the business aspect of it, of like
Yeah.
Val got re-signed,
Yeah.
and like people are getting re-signed, but it's much shorter, or it's like
Yeah.
if they don't get re-signed, they just like are done.
Yeah.
And it's like people are aging out. Like, yeah, I saw Riley Masters. Shout out Riley and Sarah if they finally want to listen to our podcast. But yeah, I saw them both yesterday, and like they're Riley obviously was a Brooks Beast guy, and then he was a Nike guy and ran. I believe his PR is 13:22. I think
I feel like it's
way back when, because he's old AF. Just kidding, really.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like
That's
now
fine.
he's working a big time job at Adobe, and we've mentioned this before. And like Sarah's killing it at her job, but she's
Yeah.
like kind of she doesn't know if she wants to stay on the track or she doesn't know if she wants to go to the roads. It's like it's really cool to have a lot of people in the same situation as you, and like and then you think of the pro scene, literally insert anyone you want of they were Nike and now they're not, or they were Adidas. And Jenny's a great example. She was like a key New Balance person, in my opinion. Then she got dropped or downgraded or whatever, and then she was Puma. I was like, yeah, it's kind of
And now
happening very
she's
often.
traveling the country.
Now she's traveling, yeah, in the RV with the dogs and Jason.
Yeah, which is
So
actually pretty sweet.
she should listen. They should listen to this podcast while they're driving because they're gonna be driving a lot.
Yeah, we should send it to him.
Yeah, they might already. I don't know.
Wow. You'll have to ask him.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it is interesting. Like seeing people that have been with brands for so long
Mm,
and then being like, oh yeah, those are gonna change. Like that was
yeah.
one thing I was talking about with Val because she was making a comment about how like special it was to be like a collegiate athlete.
Mm,
And I was like, well, you kind of get a basically like instead of looking back at college and be like, oh, it's so special. I wish I would have appreciated
yeah.
being a collegiate athlete for her for like at CU.
Uh-huh.
She gets these next 4 years to just like really appreciate, like, take that and be like, okay, I get to really appreciate, you know, training maybe for the next Olympics and
Yeah.
taking full advantage of that. So, but yeah, it is weird seeing people in the professional running world like either one sign big, new, and exciting contracts, or on the flip side, like be dropped and like go through these like
Yeah.
crazy life transitions of like, oh, I'm not going to be a professional runner anymore.
Hmm.
It's cool. It's like you kind of see like the beginning of something exciting for some people
Yeah.
and or the end of something that like that's kind of all you've known someone for.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
but not that it's a bad thing.
Right.
Just
Yeah. I mean,
it's a
like,
transition.
yeah. I'm really second guessing Riley's PR right now, but
I feel
maybe it's
like
13:12. I think
I
it
feel
ends
like
in
it's
a two.
faster. I
Yeah.
feel like it's
But yeah, like
faster.
that's a good example. Or even like Kyle Merber, like these guys who were legit when I was in high school have gone on to do really cool stuff, like
Yeah.
different realms. But like Kyle's killing it now with Grand Slam, but he's
Yeah.
killing it with Sidious for a while. And then yeah, Riley, like I just said, is Adobe. And then there's other people that are just like getting into uh actual jobs. When it's like there's always going to be that competitive spirit within them, and so anyone that's an athlete is going to be a really good employee. And seeing them like actually do really well, especially when they give back to the sport, like if you can find a niche that's like Kyle did, like giving back to the sport through Sidious, and now he's heavily involved in Grand Slam, like that's crazy. And so
Yeah.
that's really cool to see him like make that full circle moment, because it is so hard to infiltrate like the running world, especially unless you're associated with like Sidious or like Runner
Dude,
Space or Flow
it's
Tribe.
actually such a good point because I can kind of speak to that from the sense of like someone who was nowhere near good enough
Yeah.
to like continue running. Like I could have kept running, but I would have been like your fifth guy at like a turkey trot. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good point because it's like so I feel like as runners, I mean, I guess not everyone. I'm sure there's a lot of people that finish, college or whatever, and they're like, I never want to look at a track again or
Which, yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
But for me, I was like, I love track and field,
Hmm.
but for me, it's I'm not personally interested in like continuing to like compete.
Right.
But like for me, I've like super fortunate that I kind of, basically got to ride Val's coattails.
Yeah.
But just like be there and like get to see it and like be a fan is so cool.
Yeah.
Like that's something I'm super fortunate. But like to your point, where like, obviously everyone's situation is different. Uh, yeah, it would be tough. I mean, I think about that, like not being able to like be like at arm's reach from like track and field
Yeah.
would suck.
You lose sight pretty quick.
Yeah.
It's like hard to keep up with the NCAA system in general, but it's also like, yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of people like even I feel like even when Ahmed was here, like when we were in college, he was the biggest running nerd I've ever met, and then he was just like, who's good right now?
Yeah,
Because
that
it's
was
like
weird.
it's such a crazy like it's always changing, and like then it's your friends like myself. I was really good friends with Ahmed when we were in college, like really
Ahmed was a
close.
good runner at Western, one of our
Yeah,
one of our good friends.
yeah, and he had some like injury stuff, and now he lives in South Carolina and is a teacher. But yeah, he's just like, I mean, he's your age, right? Or a year older, year
You're
younger.
younger.
Yeah, and he's like, who's good? Like, I know the top guys, like obviously Connor and Clayton are good, or like I can see the podiums at USA Champs. So like I know Val is really good, but
Yeah.
like who else is good? Like who's good. Not who's not great, who's not on top of it and like getting all the sponsorships, but like where does like he asked me like where how do you find motivation? Like where do you fit into everything? Like
Yeah.
why do you keep doing this? It's like yeah, it's a really good question because it is really hard to keep track of like once you get out of it, like who's good or who's on the come up or who's on the come down or like who's potentially signing a small contract, but it's dope for them. It's like you really lose sight of that unless you're have a first hand like yeah, like a hand in the fire. It's like I know this person's good because it affects Val or because I was at the trials or I was at the Olympics and I know like, oh, Sharika could win or like Shelly and Fraser Price could
Right.
win. Or it's like, yeah, it's crazy. It's really hard to keep track of.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that just kind of, well, one, like we're just being fans of the sport. Like one, obviously you work super hard to directly
Yeah,
be involved.
yeah.
And I would say, just very fortunate that like things happen in life and I just kind of get to be involved at an arm's distance.
Hmm.
Not directly, obviously, but at arm's distance.
Yeah.
And it's just cool. But yeah, I mean, definitely there's a lot of people that I mean, I think that's one of the tough things with the sport. And hopefully, Grand Slam track, we've talked about Grand Slam enough. But like
Yeah.
one thing that maybe hopefully Grand Slam track can make more accessible is like making it, because like with football, like,
Hmm.
unless you like literally don't pay attention, you kind of have a good idea
You're right.
of
You
like
know who's good.
what's going on
Yeah.
to a certain extent. Like you kind of have to be like really not interested, but
Yeah.
with track, it's super easy to fall out of the loop
Hmm.
because it's just not kind of like that main
Hmm.
stream thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
was talking to, yeah, I guess we're almost to 2 hours, but I was talking to talking to Riley about Grand Slam yesterday because he was really good friends. I think I talked about Kyle just because we were talking about him yesterday, but he asked about Grand Slam
yeah.
and like the money is mainly investors. Like it's
Oh, it
just
is.
like Michael Johnson is
That's
just
what he
finding
said.
investors. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
Kyle's in charge of athlete management and partnerships.
yeah,
And he's like, it's really interesting. He's like, obviously some of it is confidential. I can't tell everything, but it is very, and we're kind of on the in the ballpark of like it is very planned out who's going to be a racer
yeah,
and who's going to be a challenger.
yeah.
Like aside from he said like some people's agents just didn't reply, and so like
That
no,
that they wanted.
yeah, like he used Noah as an example. Like
Oh,
Noah's agent never
interesting.
replied.
Hmm.
And then, but there's also like other, he didn't drop any names, but there's other people who are specifically challengers for, say, Jamaica. And so that's when I was like, yeah, it would make sense for like Sharika or like Shelly
Oh
and
yeah,
Fraser
because she didn't
Price
sign with them,
to
did
only
they?
be a
Yeah,
racer to, or a challenger to get more bodies out to Jamaica versus like, are people really going to care? Obviously, people would care if she's in Miami, but will it be as much of an allure? Or like Noah in Miami, like that could be crazy because like there's a
Yeah.
big party scene there. It's like so yeah, we mentioned that I think in episode 2 or 3, but yeah, we're on the mark a bit there. But yeah, it is really cool to like see all that stuff. So I
Yeah.
think I after that conversation with him, I'm definitely more invested in it. Like I think it's gonna. I'm not as doubtful, I should say. I
That's
don't know
good.
if it'll work.
Well, dude, one thing, so here's the thing, is I've thought about this a lot, and you can tell me if you think I'm full of shit. But if you look at every super successful sport,
Hmm.
like football, basketball, UFC, all the shit like basically we're interested in.
Fortnite.
Exactly.
Esports.
No. But so the thing I've come back to time and time again when thinking about like what makes that so successful is that it's like there's a centralized league.
Right.
That is like everything. Because like you think
Yeah.
about the NFL, right?
Yeah.
Everyone recognizes, hey, the you know,
Yeah, that's a good point.
this in-season games
Yeah.
like are all important because they lead to being able to qualify for the playoffs, and then the
Mhm.
playoffs, if you obviously advance through the rounds, you can go to the Super Bowl, right? And then the UFC, right? Like, okay, everyone recognizes the UFC as like the pinnacle
Right.
of combat sport or like
Yeah.
MMA,
Hmm.
and they have to like get into the UFC, and then once they're in the UFC, there's like a ranking system. They have to beat guys, and then they can get their way up, and then like they could be world champion, right? The problem with track is there's no official league. And
Aside from like the Olympics.
well, right, but
But
like
yeah, it's not a league.
think about why the Olympics are so big, right? Well, obviously it's like the whole thing,
Hmm.
but like
Hmm.
everyone recognizes like, hey, if you're an Olympic champion,
Yeah.
you're the cream of the crop, you're the best.
Yeah.
And because everyone recognizes that. And it's the same thing, like why is like US champs like recognized as like,
Hmm.
hey, like why like I feel like US champs is so exciting because you know like, hey, all the best people in the US are gonna go to that. But what makes all the events like up until that or even after difficult is like you always know that like there's people missing
Uh-huh.
or whatever,
Yeah.
right? It's just like there's not a lot of continuity that
Hmm.
like ties it all together where it makes like everything important.
Yeah.
So I think like ultimately what you kind of need to happen, well, in my opinion, if you want track to be like to start to break through and like get more viewership, you need to figure out a way where it's like essentially it's like a league where everything builds up to like the world championships
Yeah.
or something like that. And I think the
Right.
Grand Slam could be that.
Uh-huh.
But I think one of the things that we've mentioned in other podcasts is like there's still a lot of people that are missing.
Yeah.
And hopefully long term they can figure out how to like incorporate them. But essentially, like if Grand Slam track can be recognized as like, hey, that's the pinnacle of the sport, you
Hmm.
have to be involved in Grand Slam track to be
Yeah.
relevant, right?
Uh-huh.
Because obviously, like take MMA, Bellator,
Hmm.
whatever the other ones are. Like they're
Yeah.
like kind of like places you could fight and get paid, but ultimately like everyone wants to be in the UFC.
Yeah.
Like you need that level of being like everyone's scrapping for that because that's where like all the attention, all the money is. And then that ultimately leads into like the most important event.
Hmm.
And then like it's like you know what I mean? So then it's like you basically have that storyline
Yeah.
of like, hey, these are all the people, they worked all year, and then they let in like every again, I'm sure there's examples of sports that don't fit that mold, but
Hmm.
I feel
Yeah,
like
it makes sense. Yeah.
a
Definitely
league
makes
a
sense.
league is like the key thing, but everyone has to recognize that as the pinnacle,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
hopefully that's what Grand Slam track or a variation of it can become.
Yeah, or maybe Grand Slam track will be the reason that everyone focuses on Diamond Leagues. And then everyone,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe Diamond League does a better job and Grand Slam track dissolves, but they actually make everyone race more because like Sydney is there's no incentive for her to not race or whatever. But
Well, right. Think about it that way, right? Like take someone like Sydney McLaughlin. She basically almost like she'll do like a tune-up race here or there,
yeah,
but she does USA's and then she does World Championships or the Olympics, and that's almost it.
yeah,
But think about it, if like she had to race more
hmm,
because to be recognized like you have
right,
or whatever or to qualify or whatever you had Like think about how many more eyeballs
Yeah.
that could potentially bring of like, hey, like yeah, anyways, I don't know. It's not like a well thought out, but
Yeah.
I think a league is the key component.
Yeah.
You have to create basically, hey, this is recognized as the pinnacle of the sport, and it leads to something, and then that's like it leads into this, and that's recognized as like the best people that compete
Mm,
at that. Anyways,
yeah.
I don't know. That's something I was thinking about a lot though. Like you
Yeah,
look
that
at all
makes
the big
sense.
sports, it's a league. It leads into an ultimate like crowning the best people or best person, and then yeah. So
Nice.
yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, we're almost at 2 hours.
That there is a 2 hour mark, ladies and gents.
All right, last thing I got
Okay.
because it won't be relevant next week.
Okay.
Fred Curley got
I know, bro. Yeah, but he
arrested.
got released.
Yeah, I think that guy's
Free my
fucking
boy.
yeah, free Fred. Fred Curley, for anyone listening that isn't involved in track or know anything about track, is a 200 meter or 100 meter world champion. He's one of the best sprinters in the world, and he got arrested. He got arrested
Yeah, he was in jail.
for like I don't know something to he
He was accused for police battery, like battering a police officer, but then you looked
because he was
at,
concerned about his car in
yeah,
involvement with an ongoing situation.
right. And so
Yeah,
supposedly, yeah, he was arrested for yeah, like police battery and resisting arrest, but then his formal charges that got dropped were non-violent disturbing the peace. So how can you be arrested for police battery, which is essentially beating up a cop, but then all of your official charges that got dropped and you when you got released from jail are non-violent resisting arrest. So basically you're just arguing. So it's like, yeah, it's really a bummer because I think it was in Miami, I
yeah,
feel.
it was. It
But
was.
yeah, it's like the headline was like, oh, Fred got arrested. Then you look into it, it's like, oh, he was released 6 hours after he got arrested. But it's like, oh, it's so tough to see.
Yeah,
My boyfriend.
yeah. I feel like that. I mean, that dude is huge
Yeah,
and kind of terrifying, but
yeah.
it seems like a very nice guy.
I think he is very chill, but
Yeah,
I'm sure whatever he was driving, he was just like, get the
concerned.
fuck away from my
He's like,
car.
"Yo, I got a nice whip.
Yeah,
Don't
and then
touch
the
it."
cops are just like, oh shit, this is gonna get out of hand. He's probably just like, don't touch my car.
Yeah, it would actually be funny to see
Yeah,
what
because
actually
like, and
happened.
people were commenting as like, why would Fred choose to beat up a cop when he could just run from them? It's like, yeah, that's a good point. Like,
Yeah, it
if they
doesn't
were
make
actually trying to
sense.
arrest him, I don't think he'd just like start throwing haymakers. He would just run a 9.8 to get away from it. Like, yeah, that's a good point. I
The
don't know
world
why he
champion
would
right
just
there. He's
like
a world
choose
champion.
to, yeah,
He's not
start
gonna
one
fight you.
to
He's gonna run away from you.
Mayweather. Yeah. But yeah, so I think he's freed. I do think he's freed, but still tough to have that because he's at a tough year of like contracts and whatnot. But
Yeah, I was wondering if that was gonna affect his contract.
I'm sure he's also kind of a head case, but I think he's just doing his own thing,
I
buy more
wonder if he
land.
would. I wonder if he would get dropped by like Nike for.
Who knows?
Yeah. Anyways, I hopefully he's all good.
Yeah.
But yeah, he seems like a cool guy. He's probably my favorite sprinter.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
seems like a cool dude.
He seems
So
super cool. Very
yeah.
low key.
Anyways, I think that's probably we should wrap it up there. We're at the 2 hour mark. I feel like the 2 hour mark is where we should.
Yeah, it's a sweet spot.
Yeah. But anyways, moral of the story, 2024 was awesome. I think 2025 is gonna hopefully also be awesome.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. Do you have anything else?
No,
All right. Well,
nothing for you
you
guys.
got a bro. You got a bro. Hear me out to end her off.
I feel like I had good bro hear me out when we started, but now I don't.
All right. Well, we had
But
one.
we did have one, yeah. Yeah, I would just say well, my birthday's in a week
Ooh.
and Christmas happened and I got another pair of Jordan 1s.
Ooh.
Two pairs of Jordan
Lows or
1s,
highs?
lows and highs for Christmas.
Fuck. Nice.
I think I have 6 pairs of Jordan 1s now. I think that's my bro hear me out of they're the best sneaker I've ever created.
The Jordan one
You can
is
dress them up. You can dress them way. I wore them with sweats to Whole Foods the other day. I felt like an idiot, but like I saw myself in the mirror. I was like, this kind of goes hard. But you
you're
can
such a
also
dude.
you can
You're
also
such
wear.
a dude.
Imagine Jordan 1s with like a
You're
tuft or
like,
like
I don't
Jordan
look
1s.
big.
Yeah, exactly, bro. Jordan 1s. That's the key. That's the life hack. So that's my bro. Hear me out. Jordan 1's best sneaker ever created, but also closely followed by a couple others. But yeah, it's
Yeah. The no. I mean. I feel like undeniably the Jordan 1 is yeah.
Yeah.
Chuck and I are huge sneakerheads.
Yeah.
We love shoes, but I also just think Nike in general just
Yeah.
has the best kicks from a lifestyle perspective.
It's just crazy to me just looking at to monologue on a little bit longer. Jordan ones, you can get a pair like specifically on GOAT, but like you can get a pair of Jordan ones for $50 or a pair of Jordan ones for 30,000.
Yep.
It's like the range on them, and there's like such crazy ones obviously in between them. Like you can get a pair for 500 or a pair for 100 or whatever. The range on them, like some of them are like similar to like the all black Air Force stereotype. Like some of them just look like ass, but then some of them are like, dude, this is the like coolest shoe I've ever seen. It goes with anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just the range on those things is crazy. And so, yeah, if anyone's thinking of birthday presents,
Get someone a pair of Jordan 1s. Even if they don't like them, they'll look
yeah,
cool.
yeah, exactly. They do look cool on anyone.
They look cool on anyone.
Yeah. And they have crazy neutral colors, but they also have insane patterns and stuff. They just look sick.
Here's the thing about like
And they're pretty comfortable. I think they're more comfortable than like Dunks.
yeah, I agree.
And I think they're more comfortable than I don't know what else I have. Like
Both of us-
Blazers. Like I feel like a lot of people go with Blazers. I've had a couple pairs of Nike
They're not as
Blazers.
comfortable.
As Blazers?
No, I'm saying Blazers
Yeah,
are not
yeah.
as
Yeah,
I
yeah.
agree
Jordan
with
ones are
you.
super comfortable, which is crazy. I mean, they are all leather, but they're just like they're comfortable. They have a good outsole. I mean, like, yeah, MJ played in them, so they're still good.
I mean, they
I wouldn't
fucking
ball
rip.
in them, but they're still sweet. Like that's how I caught my flight at last episode.
Just fucking
Just
running
ripping
through the
unlaced
airport.
Jordan ones. But I got my flight.
Dude, here's the thing about Jordan 1s. Some people, older people, whatever, might think, oh my God, those are stupid.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you, if you wear a pair of Jordan 1s out in any, like, you're in, like, decent amount of people see them, someone in that crowd is going to be like, those are kind of sick.
Yeah.
Those are kind of sick.
Yeah.
So even if you don't know anything about shoes, you get yourself like a decent pair of Jordan 1s. It's a great shoe.
Yeah,
and they look
good.
cool.
Yeah.
And both of us wore Jordan 1s the whole time in Paris.
True. Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
that. My pair's so beat.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
So,
All right. Yeah.
all right. Anyways, that's episode 4. We will try not to miss another week,
Yeah.
but if we do miss another week, I blame Chuck.
It will be my fault. I will be in Flagstaff next week, but I'll try to make it work.
Yeah, we're gonna try to make it work. We're gonna keep this going no matter what.
No matter what, it will keep going. Yeah.
Yeah. If we miss a week, we apologize, but we are trying our hardest not to make that happen. But
So get out our DMs, assholes.
yeah. Fuck off. No, I'm just kidding. No, you can get in our DMs. You make it feel cool that actually someone's listening. But yeah, thank you guys for listening to episode 4. Bro, hear me out. 2024 was amazing. We have high hopes for 2025.
Yeah.
And hopefully there's a lot more podcasts in 2025.
King of cringe, Mr.
Fuck
Collins.
you. What the hell is up with cringe?